Hi, I'm Bernardo Moya, founder of The Best You. Are you a motivational speaker, an author, a therapist, a coach, or a business guru trying to raise your profile and reach a global audience? At The Best You, we've been building our brand for many years, helping those in the world of personal development get their message out there through The Best You Expos, The Best You Magazine, and The Best You Online. And now we're looking to grow our community even more. We've recently launched The Best You TV, available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play. So now by partnering with us, you can get your show on The Best You TV, you can contribute to The Best You Magazine, add your courses to The Best You Online, and join us at one of the Best You virtual expos happening around the world. Expand your brand and join a growing community that believes that everyone deserves a life without limits.
The Best You is leading the way in the industry of personal and professional growth. Through our magazine, expos, e-learning, TV, club, and awards, The Best You's objective is to help people achieve their dreams, to do more, to be more, to live a life without limits. Join us if you believe in helping and inspiring others, in changing the world, in making it a more just and fair place through education and inspiration. Our goal: everyone, everywhere, now. If you are interested in making a difference, working, partnering, volunteering, supporting, or even licensing The Best You, let's talk. Let's work together and make the world a better place.
The well-being industry is worth $3 trillion. Hi, I'm Bernardo Moya, I'm the founder of The Best You, and I wanted to share with you my vision, my dream, the concept of The Best You. The Best You is a multi-platform, global platform. Our first thing is The Best You Expo. Now, we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and over these last 5 years, we've had close to 70,000 people attend, and we promoted more than 700 speakers. Because we filmed every single event, we have more than 700 talks from world leaders, all in one library of content. The really exciting thing about The Best You is our growth strategy. Look, we're going to be running expos all over the world. We've done them now in London and California. We're exploring about running them in Miami. We're looking at running them in Canada, in Mexico. It's just the beginning. So this business model where we will license the Best You Expo will allow us to attract more and more speakers, to attract the biggest brands, to attract all the thinkers that will want to be involved, not only in the local, but in the international reach and approach that we have. This will provide us phenomenal revenue and so much content through all the talks and all the different partners that we will have around the world. And there's so many opportunities for people like yourself, for you to be able to get involved in The Best You now. Thank you so much.
What is life? Your life isn't just about what you're doing now. Your life is the sum of every hope you ever had and everything you ever wanted to be. Life is about the situations you deal with, how you get to where you want to be, and how you become who you want to be. Life is a collection of moments and memories. Life is about being alive, feeling alive. Life is about dealing with whatever fate throws at you. Life is about staying on top when things are challenging. Life is about enjoying yourself, about finding yourself, about leaving a legacy. Life is about looking and feeling good, about staying ahead. It's about being the best you. What you want, what we all want, is a life without limits. So why don't you be the best you?
Are you sick and tired of struggling to get your career to where you want it to be? Working with the right coach can be a life-changing experience, and Bernardo Moya is changing lives all over the world. Learn how to create revenue streams, attract higher qualified clients consistently, market your brand, and promote your business to a global audience. Bernardo is one of the biggest names in the world of personal development. He is an entrepreneur, an author, a speaker, and a founder and chief inspirational officer of the Best You Corporation. So fast-track your career now. The Best You TV, a TV channel with only the best business leaders and influencers ready to help you rise to the top. Available now on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play. Are you in the personal development world trying to reach a larger audience? Are you a motivational speaker, an author, therapist, coach, or business guru tired of pushing out content with little results? Gain more clients and expand your business today. Get your show or content on the Best You TV. The Best You Store, helping you do more, achieve more, be more. Store.thebestyou.co. Best You Store, helping you do more, achieve more, be more. Store.thebestyou.co.
So this was you going out one night, very uncomfortable with the girls, and you said there's got to be something more comfortable that we could wear, and you came up with the idea of developing or creating something that you had no experience with.
That's right. I went to a dinner dance and I was wearing a very uncomfortable cleavage bra, and I thought, why should women go through all this pain for a tiny bit of gain? And I took the bra off in the toilets. It was that uncomfortable. And I went back to the table with all of my friends and I said, I'm going to invent a bra, start a business on Monday. And they said, well, what do you know about bras? You haven't been to college, you haven't been to university. And I says, well, I've got a pair of boobs and I'll work it out. That's what I did. For 3.5 years of my life, I invented Ultimo, the first world gel-fill bra. And I went to the Prince's Trust and they gave me some help and they gave me a mentor as well. And, you know, thousands of prototypes later from playing around with the bra, and I wanted to, with the first gel-fill bra, I wanted to create basically a boob job bra. And 3.5 years later, I got all my friends and family into my bedroom and I asked my Auntie Joan to try it on first. And she says, well, why me? I said, well, if I can give you a cleavage, it will be a miracle. So she went in and she came out of the bathroom and she had a massive cleavage. And that's when I went down to Selfridges, the department store. I've always been told by my mum and dad, you know, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what education you managed to get, it doesn't matter the colour of your skin, your religion. If you have that dream, passion, determination, can-do attitude, you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. And they've always taught me to think big. So I thought, well, I could go to small boutiques and I could sell my range through there, but minimum order quantities is going to be a massive issue for me. So I just turned up to the buying office in Selfridges, the biggest, most prestigious department store in the UK, and I didn't have an appointment. I just had a bag of bras. And I said, I'm here to see the buyer. And she says, do you have an appointment? And I said, no. And she says, well, you won't get to see her. And I said, well, you don't understand. This is 3.5 years of my life in this bag. I'm heavily pregnant with my third baby. I'm £480,000 in debt. And this is the best cleavage bra ever. I need to see the buyer now. The buyer came down and tried the bra on, and boom, I got into Selfridges. So I suppose when I'm mentoring people in business, I say to them, you know, you've got to approach people, you've got to get yourself out there. Don't sit on your backside and wait for them to come to you, because it ain't going to happen.
Sure. Many, many, many years from now, what would you like your legacy to be?
I would just love to inspire as many people as possible, especially from deprived areas, for them to look up to me and say, well, if she's managed to do it, to build these successful brands and, you know, get an OBE and in the House of Lords and everything else, and she's from an area where we live in, then we can do it too. There ain't no secret. You know, if you just work hard, I always say the harder you work, the luckier you become.
Now, the Best You Personal and Professional Development Virtual Expos are happening globally in 2020 and 2021, whether you want to speak, exhibit, or attend. These are 7-day online events for all those passionate about living a better life, creating a better world, gaining greater mindfulness and meaning in these new times, and becoming the best version of themselves. Book your speaking slot, your virtual booth, and get tickets to attend now.
Welcome back.
Hi.
Hey, such a lovely afternoon that we've had. Some phenomenal speakers. We have the man with the plan, the man with the idea, the man that's behind the best you for all of us to become the better version of ourselves. Who's that man, Sarah Jane?
It's Mr. B, Bernardo Moye.
Hey, how are we doing, girls? How are we?
Well, we're good.
Very good. Very good. Excited to be here. Thank you so much. What a great job you girls are doing.
Thank you so much, Bernardo. Thank you for coming to the Empowerment Women stage. How are things going over at your end?
They're going good. They're going great. You know, we've had great speakers. I just finished a panel talking about the best TV series. And then before that, I had Rob Moore, who's a, podcaster, social media guru, Clubhouse expert. And he was like teaching us all the stuff about podcasts, very passionate. And, it's just been a great morning. We've had so many great people, and we got so many more organized for the next couple of days. So, look, I'm always excited to be able to pop into the other rooms. I normally would do that if we were at a live event. I'll be walking from room to room to room. You know what it's like. I think on my first expo, I did 14 kilometers on day one, 16 on day two. And so, I'm walking a lot less, but I do love popping in, especially into the Empowering Women, because I know you've seen the buzz that the Empowering Women always has and always has had, with all the great speakers that we've had at it. And so I'm very excited and lovely to be here. Excellent. We're glad that you could take just a few minutes out of your time. We've been having buzz, like you said, with some of the phenomenal speakers that we've had. We've had Ross Savage earlier on, and it was just phenomenal. We've just had little snippets of empowerment throughout our morning. Now we're drifting into the afternoon, evening. But it doesn't end there, does it, Sarah?
Oh, no, we're just warming up for the weekend. This is just a little snippet of what we're going to give all weekend. And I'm more excited about your new TV show that's coming out. It's just like Dr. Fab Massa Jardi, Nicole Smith Jackson. We're going to be able to watch this from our own homes whenever we want. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the day and the weekend. We are going to inspire a lot of people this weekend and empower so many people and change their lives. And that's thanks to you, Bernardo, because you've created this brand. You've built it. We've seen you lose your hair. I'm going to put your butter soon. Yeah, we'll get you.
Well, thank you so much. And I've got to say, listen, it has been a beautiful journey, you know, especially seeing directly, you know, a lot of the work with some of the people I worked closer with, like, you know, with Ruth and yourself, Sarah Jane, and both of you being part of the crew, and maybe different training programs on the NLP courses that you've trained. And, you know, you've been to hundreds of them between you. And it's been great to see how you two also have evolved and how you've grown and the amazing work that you're doing. And look, I mean, I think at the end of the day, ultimately, what we need to be doing, all of us, is making sure that we're pushing the boundaries. You know, kind of we got to keep going, we've got to think bigger, and we got to reach more people. And that's kind of where we started with The Best You. And you know, kind of, I think I had a bit of an aha moment when we hit 2020. And then, you know, with 2021, when I kind of summarized, okay, well, what have I done? Well, you know, kind of like, yeah, okay, I promoted 1,000 speakers now. We've had, you know, close to 70, 80,000 people attend all the different seminars, trainings, courses, everything that we've done. You know, and those 1,000 speakers I know have had a phenomenal effect. And then the people that have trained with us over the years, I know what they've gone and done. So, you know, kind of I'm proud of our journey. I always think it's still small, in my opinion. We're still not doing enough. We're not thinking big enough, and we have to push harder. So the TV is the next natural step up. And I'm actually going to take, because this is our last expo, virtual expo, technically this year. We're going to be doing one in 2021 or a couple in 2022. But I'm very excited about the potential opportunity the TV is going to bring us, where we can then reach millions of people. And as you said, Sarah Jane, you know, delighted to have Mass Sadaji, who's also going to be running his own show. We're going to have Nicola Smith Jackson. We've got also Dr. Fabrizio Mancini, plus all the content that we've got. We've got more than 1,000 talks from the expo. We also have inspiring people talks. We have inspiring people interviews. We have the NLP live talks. So we've already got a phenomenal library of content. So I'd like to actually play, because I know you're a big fan of Mass Sadaji's. I'd like to play his commercial. And I know you loved him. I know we met at a private event that he was kind of doing. I didn't know who he was. To be honest, I didn't know he paid to speak at the expo. I have hundreds of speakers, but he got my attention when I was walking outside of his room, and all of a sudden, like, okay, well, there technically should only be 100 people in that room. There looks like there's 300, and there's another couple of hundred waiting outside. What's going on? So we had to move him, because, you know, kind of like, he's gonna destroy the whole thing. So we moved into another space, and I remember we finished the event at the end, and it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. We're having dinner, and he's still outside, and everyone's like tranced out there, you know, kind of loving, like, you know, like, and I'm thinking, who is this guy? And obviously I started looking into him, and then I remember I was at an event that I was invited along, and you met him then. You were in awe of him.
I've worked with him several times. I've been lucky enough to work with him in his small groups. I've done a lot of his 21-day Medi healings. He is just amazing. You walk up to him and he gets you. He can read you inside and out. I've come across some people in my time, and he just blew me away. So I've worked with him about 3 or 4 times personally, been to his little VIP events, and I've always shifted. He is just extraordinary. He has the abilities that I've never seen anybody with. And it's like, you don't even have to open your mouth. He's just gone blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh, how did you know all that?
He's done it. He's done it. And for us, obviously, you know, kind of, I know he's been a big fan of The Best You. So for me to feel that reciprocity of him wanting to work with us, be with us, and do more things with us. And he is speaking over the weekend. So obviously there'll be lots of people here to watch him. So let's play his commercial for those of you that haven't seen it, so you get a bit of a feel of what Mass's show is all going to be about.
The Best You TV, a TV channel with only the best business leaders and influencers ready to help you rise to the top. Available now on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play. Learn and grow from in-depth interviews, documentaries, inspirational talks, and motivational masterclasses from the world's biggest thought leaders, speakers, teachers, authors, coaches, and highly successful business gurus. The Best You TV is now live.
My passion is to set people free by helping you transform any area of your life more effectively and faster than anything you've tried before. I do this by unique abilities gifted to me through 2 near-death experiences that allow me to help you change your frequency, changing your life.
So that's Mass is going to be on the Best You TV, and you know that one of his programs that he does is called Mass on Sunday, which obviously is a brilliant name, isn't it? So we're looking, we're obviously in conversations with Mass to stream through the TV channel his event on Sundays or every other Sunday. You know, so we're very excited about that. And obviously potentially then reaching millions of people. So look, we're very excited. I prefer to work with women. I'll be very honest with you. I've said that to all the men I know. I don't care. I'm not shy. And I think that we need more women in power. We need more women at the forefront. And that's why I can always count on you. You're always reliable. You're always loyal. And you're always there to support us and help us. So you girls, you don't know yet, but you're going to be involved in the Best You Global Women's Summit. We're running the Empowering Women event in 2022, which is an event I'm looking at doing in over 72 hours in 5 continents with the objective of reaching hundreds of thousands of millions of people. So these expos are too small for me now. We need to be doing this globally. We need to be reaching more people. And that's kind of what we're really looking at forward at doing it next year. So there's going to be more on that coming in the next couple of weeks and months. But we're looking at creating a phenomenal global platform that creates awareness, because I think, you know, and we're going to invite men along. I'll be there, and we're going to invite other men as well, because, you know, we need to kickstart this new reality and educating boys and educating younger adults in about how important it is to bring women at the forefront of everything that is happening. And if we can, ideally, give them the keys of the car, let them drive, because we've already messed it up, boys. We've already messed it up. We've just made disasters left, right, and center. The best countries run in the world are those that are run by women. The proof is there. I mean, you know, you look at Germany, you look at New Zealand. And so I'm a big, massive fan. I did a panel last week, which was called Life Without Limits. Obviously, I only wanted women there, and it was very great. We're going to be running one of those, I think, over the next couple of days. I'm going to invite you girls to come along. And I also had a panel, which was a Spanish panel, talk about empowering women in the 21st century. So I'm very excited about that. And I think that needed to be said here at the Empowering Women Room, where potentially, you know, we can start getting people to say, hey, I want to help. That's what we need.
Thank you, because without everything that you do with the Best You and the NLP Life training, we wouldn't be where we are now. If I hadn't picked that, I always call it the magic flyer, and I've still got that magic flyer upstairs and it falls out. If I hadn't picked that flyer up and walked into that room, none of this would have happened for me. So we thank you, because you've carried on going through, and you've just built changes after changes, and you're delivering more and more and more. So if you can do what you've done for us, thousands and millions of people that you're going to touch and move their lives forward, it's just going to be, there's no words for it, really. It's just amazing.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. No, I'm very humble, and as I said, very honored, and I know kind of the impact that we've had. But I'm really looking forward at. We're talking to some of the people there, and I think what's happened is in 2021, it was like a bit of a shock for everyone. You know, we obviously, not a lot of us have lived through a pandemic, and then we were thinking, we're thinking months, and now all of a sudden we realized, that year was gone, and now a lot of people thinking, 2021, or hold on a minute, 2021 is still going to take a little bit of time to get it together. But it is definitely, I think, now that people have realized that this is here to stay, I think there's going to be so many great things happening in 2021, and I think there's going to be a massive explosion globally in everything in 2022. So this is a start. I think this is a time when we've done the warm up and the stretch in 2020, And now we're ready to kind of like, use the six pack and the muscles and go out there and really kick some global derriere, because we need leaders. We need more personal development people coming at the forefront and making a big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you for kicking it off here in London. And it's good to be back here on the virtual London. I know that you're across the globe and there's probably more countries that you want to hit. But thank you, for bringing it back to grassroots from where we come from. And show what people we're doing out here. So that's good. Thank you, Bernardo.
Thank you, girls. Thank you so much. Keep up the great job. Great work. Take care. All the best. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Wow, the man himself, Mr. B, that's what we call him, because he has brought all of this to your screens, and the world's changing. So the Expos still need to live on. So bringing it to your screen, just remember, to all them people out there that's got a brand as well, people that really want to put themselves out there and touch people, contact the Best You, because the Best You can really help you put your business out there for you to touch people. They're here with their magazines, online. It's a multi-million-pound platform for people to get out there and be worldwide. Contact the Best You, work with the Best You. It's brought everyone so far that I know. You just have to make that choice and take that step forward. But Ruth, what we've got coming up next?
Well, we've got a wonderful, wonderful woman, Fiona Campbell, coming up next, and she's going to be talking to us about thinking about your thinking. All behavior starts with a thought, and when you take control of your thinking, you take control of your life. She'll be coming up after the advert, and then I'll introduce her.
Fantastic.
Hello, Fiona.
Hello. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm great. Good to see you, Fiona. So we've got you as a licensed international NLP trainer, a background we're familiar with, a professional growth coach, clinical hypnotherapist, and leadership development trainer. We're just so happy to have you on this stage. We just want you to share your nuggets, your golden gems with our audience. Take it away, Fiona.
Okay. Hello. Hello, it's Fiona Campbell here, and I'm delighted to be here and covering thinking about your thinking. Now, this is an interesting topic because most people tend to not understand that they can actually think about their thoughts. So what I want you to think about is, when's the last time you started to listen to your self-talk? And what I mean by that, if you're going, what's she talking about? I don't know what she's talking about. I don't understand what she's talking about. What do you mean by self-talk? That's exactly what I'm talking about, your self-talk. Because all behavior comes from a thought. That's where it all starts. Now, we cover about science changes. Neuroscience is always changing. We're always getting different figures, but it's approximately 50,000 thoughts per day that you're thinking. Do you think about 50,000 things? Do you actually do 50,000 things a day? Of course you don't. But what you do is you pay attention to certain thoughts. Now, there's all sorts of things will trigger you to pay attention to a thought. It could be something that you see, or something that you hear, or something you touch, or something go, oh, and you think about something. But the minute you pay attention to a thought, something magical happens. Now, it can be magical in a good way or a bad way. What happens is your body actually starts creating the chemicals that match that thought. So if you suddenly get a thought about being frightened about something, or, oh, that bus was really near, or that car was really near, your body instantly releases all the chemicals to take you into that state of survival. So it's an incredible system that we have, the response that we have with our thoughts to the physiology, the chemicals in our body. But what is really, really fascinating is that your brain, I don't know if you ever thought about this, but your brain is absolutely compelled to respond to every single thing that you ask it. And what I mean by that is if you say to yourself, I'm really going to struggle with this, your body would go, yep, you're absolutely right. You're struggling. And it then creates the chemicals to create a state of struggle. When you say to yourself, this is something that's new to me, this is something I haven't done before, but I've done things previously in the past. I know that I can learn step by step to do this. Your brain actually creates the chemicals that you go into learning mode. You go into curiosity. You go into breaking things down step by step. So that every single time you pay attention to a thought, there's something happens with your body. Now, sometimes you can create a thought of being really, really motivated. You can think of something, yeah, this is fantastic, this is happening. So the thought can propel you into action, because remember, it's thoughts. The thoughts then kick off the feeling, excuse me, that comes from the chemicals, the chemical cocktail at that point in time. That produces the action or not. So think about it. You can be sitting there, especially now. This is the Empowering Women session, so I know I'm talking to the right audience for this. You could have been sitting at home now, maybe not so much now because we're not actually visiting each other's home, but take yourself back to when we were visiting each other's homes. You could be sitting at home, end of the week, you're really tired, you just can't be bothered to move, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call or a message comes through to say your mother-in-law or some other person of authority in your life is coming round. What happens? I can guarantee you're up and you're brushing your teeth, washing your face, and you're cleaning the sink in the mirror at the same time. The fastest way to get housework done is to know someone's coming that you really think, oh, I need this place to be clean. Didn't matter how tired you were before, but the change in the thoughts actually changes the way you feel. Now, if I say to you, don't think of purple rabbits, or don't think of green cows, what happens? You've got to think of purple rabbits, or you've got to think of green cows, because they were in the sentence. So when you're thinking about your thinking, it's really, really vital that you understand your brain, although it's compelled to answer whatever you say to it, it doesn't know how to negate information. Another way to say this is if you just imagine I'm sitting at my computer and I'm typing into the screen, I don't want this sentence to appear on the screen. Does that sentence appear on the screen? Of course it does. Your computer or your mobile or whatever you're typing into doesn't go, she doesn't want that to appear. It doesn't have a mind of its own. Well, guess what? Your brain doesn't have a mind of its own. Your brain is responding to how you're programming, what you're telling yourself. Now, your thoughts are translated, the way you can decode your thoughts are through your self-talk. So think about yourself. I'd like you to just do a quick wee exercise at the moment. I want you just to take a nice deep breath. And just allow yourself to imagine feeling really, really relaxed. Tell yourself, I know it's Friday afternoon, but I'm just going to take 2 minutes out here to breathe and relax. Just breathing and relax. That's it. And just telling yourself the words calm, soften. That's it. Are you starting to feel relaxed? All you did there was you thought about your thinking, took control of what you were thinking and changed it to what you wanted to happen, not what you don't want to happen. So let's just do this in another way. Just from taking yourself to that, suddenly think, What have I forgotten to do today? What have I forgotten to do? I know I've forgotten to do something. What have I forgotten to do? I've got loads of things to do. Straight away, just changing that thought, just paying attention to that thought, takes you in. There's adrenaline coming through your body. It's cortisol. There's all sorts of different chemicals that are taking you into a different physiological state. So what I'd like you to think about is when you're thinking about your thinking, it's actually starting to become conscious, because we don't consciously think about our thinking. Thinking tends to happen in this unconscious place out there. And one of the things that we're really doing, because this all comes, I really started learning this when I started doing my neuro-linguistic programming training. I started to understand the importance of how I could control what I was thinking about situations based on the information I was feeding to myself. And this, it takes time, it takes practice. And the best way to start, so let's just start, I'll give you a nice sequence to start with. The best way to do this is, first of all, just take a few minutes and ask yourself, okay, what am I thinking? What am I focusing on? And start to listen to your self-talk. Start to tune in to the soundtrack that you're running in your head. And ask yourself, what do I think about myself? What do I think about me? Now that's an interesting one, because you'll go two ways. You'll either be very supportive about yourself, or you may find that you're being critical about yourself. When you're being critical about yourself, or if you're being critical about yourself now, start to listen to what you're saying to yourself. Start to actually become aware of the conversation that you're having. It's called self-talk, it's called inner dialogue, it's called paying attention to our thoughts, whatever you want to call it. And listen to the tone of voice you're speaking to yourself in. What are some of the things you're telling yourself? Okay. If you're finding that you're being very critical with yourself, what you can do is you can ask yourself, would I speak to my best friend about this? Would I say this to my best friend? Would I say this to my child? Would I say this to my partner? Would I say this to anyone, any of the colleagues that you work, anyone you work with? Probably not. Now, what you can also do, you can also listen to the tone of voice that you're speaking to in yourself. Become aware of your tone. Are you being helpful, or are you being really nasty with yourself? So we can do two things. We can either change what you're saying to yourself, or you can just change your tone of voice. Changing your tone of voice is enough to change your physiology. So if you're saying, oh, I'm really uncomfortable, I don't like myself, I'm hopeless at this, I'm hopeless at that, I'm hopeless at the next thing, and it's a moaning tone of voice, you can start to say, I'm really hopeless at this. I'll never be able to get the life I want. I will never, and say it with a smile. Actually, when you turn up, this is another little secret, if you just turn this, now that's not a real smile. See the difference? A real smile, that's a smile. A fake smile is that. But guess what? Your brain doesn't know the difference. If you move the muscles here, just this movement with the muscles actually starts releasing serotonin and dopamine. It releases the chemicals that make you feel good. So just sometimes doing that and holding it for long enough so you start to feel yourself actually changing. You feel the chemicals in your body changing. So you can still be saying the same thing to yourself, but saying it with a smile and saying it with a smile in your voice. And that will change how you feel. I'm going to teach a couple of techniques to help you stop self-talk. Because, and I'm talking about unresourceful self-talk. You want to keep talking to yourself about the good stuff. You want to keep telling yourself you're fabulous. You want to keep telling yourself you're confident. You can do anything you put your mind to. There's no way you would stop that self-talk. You keep that going. This self-talk, the self-talk's your thoughts. And it's just teaching yourself, it's becoming conscious about changing these thoughts, taking control of these thoughts. So sometimes you can have this stream of stuff going on and you're trying to change it, you're trying to do all sorts of things. One of the things you can do is tell yourself, and please, please, please do this silently and mentally, because we don't want you walking about going, stop, and shouting out loud. Just shout to yourself in your head, stop, and make it really strong. Make it really a command, stop. And when you give the command stop to your brain, guess what happens? Your brain, for a few seconds, will stop thinking. It's just, you've just told it that all you have to do is the word stop, say it really strong. Now, if that's all you do, eventually you're going to start talking to yourself again, and you're going to start the same rubbish. This is all going to happen again. So what you do is you say stop, and then you put something in that you want. So I will say things like stop, breathe. So if you've got yourself all wound up about something and you're still, this pandemic will never finish and we'll never get a job, or whatever you're saying, break the pattern. Tell yourself to stop and breathe. And guess what? Because you're controlling that thought, your body follows. You breathe. And when you breathe, you calm down. And when you breathe, you give yourself thinking room. You give yourself a little bit of space. And it can be stop, focus. Stop, listen. Because one of the things, a lot of the work I do is all around communication and really getting behind what people are saying. And one of the things we come across a lot is people are so busy in their thoughts, in their heads, that they're missing everything that someone is saying. So if you want to become really charismatic, if you want to be able to really build rapport with people, if you want to be able to really connect with people, whether it's online or whether it's face-to-face, people respond incredibly when you listen to them. And you cannot listen to someone if your head's going at 200 miles an hour. I don't understand. What's my opinion? All this noise that's in your head that's preventing you from even starting to listen to what someone's saying. Because when you're really talking to someone, when you're really connecting with someone, conversation's a two-way process. And a really good conversation happens when someone is really responding to what you've just said. So whatever you're saying, that person has listened, has understood, and they're feeding back. They're part of that. They're not just coming in with something that just sort of mismatches, because a lot of the time that's what conversation is about. It's all mismatching. So thinking about your thinking and taking control of your thinking allows you to do so many things. It allows you to really stop and listen. Because one of the things we get a bit frightened of, I've seen this, and especially women, I do a lot of work with women in business, I do a lot of work with senior women leaders. A lot of things that women tend to be frightened of is silence. When someone is being silent when you're speaking to them, they're thinking. It's not silent in their head, in their inside world. So inside their head, They're busy, they're talking, they're talking, they're thinking about, oh, what was that? Then they maybe get into feelings, then they may be saying something, and there's all this information, all this busyness is going on. But meanwhile, on the outside world, that's anything outside your skin. So if you're talking to someone, you're in their outside world. So while all this busyness is going on inside their head, sit it. Let them think. Let them think about their thinking. Let them process and look for whatever they've got to look for. Let them search and do whatever they're doing. Let them come up with their answers. Those of you who do coaching, this is the secret of good coaching. I do a lot of executive coaching, and this is the secret of good coaching, is to really let somebody talk and think. But while they're doing that, you sit and watch them. Now, I don't know if you know, I'm just going to take my glasses off for this. I don't know if you know about neuro-linguistic programming, but one of the things that neuro-linguistic programming is basically, it's the methodology of how we create behavior. And it's how we create behavior on the outside world. That's everything, in my opinion, outside your skin, and in the inside world. So it's also the study of excellence, how people do something in a very excellent way. Now, normally what we're doing when we're looking at excellence outside of the world of NLP is we're looking about how someone is, we're looking at what we can see and what we can hear. So that's in the so it's the outside. We're looking at someone, and in this outside world here, we're looking to see, right, how do they sound? How are they standing? What words are they saying? Where are their eyes? What eye contact are they giving? How are they smiling? All of this is going on. But there's a whole other part, which is the inside world, the part inside someone's skin. What are they thinking? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are they feeling? So within NLP, within Neuro-Linguistic Programming, we bring all of these together to call what I call it success strategies or success recipes, if you like, where we get the inside and the outside. Because once you actually get someone to think about their thinking, that is often the key to finding where they're struggling. So let me give you an example for a presentation. Say someone that's doing a presentation, someone has to do a presentation. You can send someone to as many presentation skills training as you want. And as long as it's only focusing on how they're looking, how they're sounding on the outside world, yeah, you'll get a success. But you won't get 100% success. The only way to get 100% success with someone is to start identifying what they're thinking and what they're saying to themselves. Because what they're saying to themselves is actually affecting how they're coming across. So if I'm going about to do a presentation, I go, oh, nobody will like me, no, there's nobody here, nobody will be enjoying this is terrible, if I'm running that in my head, at some level, everyone in an audience will pick that up at the unconscious level. People who are good at presenting, when you ask them, what do you think about when you give a presentation? They'll say things, well, I think that I've done my homework, I've done my rehearsal, and I know that I've got some information to pass on that people are finding valuable. I know that people will pay attention. I also know that what I'm passing on will not fit for everyone. So I've worked with loads of people in presentations, and I've asked really good presenters. I've modelled them to find out, what are you thinking? What are you going? And in every case, they're really thinking about their audience, and they're thinking about the whole thing of passing on information. They're not thinking about themselves. They're not in their own inner world, really criticizing themselves and beating themselves up. So a way around this, let me just, sorry, I was going to say something about the eyes. When you're talking to somebody and they're doing this and this and this and this, When their eyes are going up, they are accessing pictures in their own inside world. When they're looking side to side, they're accessing auditory in the soundtrack of the inside world. And when they're looking down, they're accessing their feelings and also talking to themselves. So the key is when you're asking someone about something and you're really thinking about thinking, watch their eyes. As long as this is going on, they're thinking, they're searching. So don't speak at that point of time. Give them time to complete their search. And once they complete their search, then you can go on to the next thing. So it's really understanding this whole thinking about your thinking. I've actually developed the RAFT model, which works with results. So you start with a result. So for example, someone set out to achieve something that they couldn't do. So you will then ask them, okay, what actions did you take or not to achieve that result? The result and the actions are the outside world. Then you go further, you say, okay, how did you feel about that? And what were you saying to yourself? What were you thinking? What were your thoughts? And the important thing is here was, how are you feeling about that? Because people will say things like, I felt as if I was going round in circles. I felt as if I was hitting my head against a brick wall. I felt as if I was scattered and all over the place. That's not describing emotions, but my goodness, it's letting you know what they're thinking in the inside world. So it's understanding that the more you start to think about how you're thinking and that you understand you can control that. If you start to notice that you're thinking about something that it's not serving you well, it's not resourceful, it's not allowing you to go into the state that you need to do whatever you're doing, you can change that. And you can change it to something you want, not something you don't want. Because it's not going to serve you well if you're presenting and you say to yourself, I don't want to be nervous. Remember, don't think of purple rabbits. I don't want, be nervous is in the sentence. Therefore, you're going to feel nervous. The brain's not going to go, ah, she doesn't mean to be nervous. So instead of saying, I don't want to be nervous, you can say something like, I'm fully prepared. I've done my homework. I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Something that actually fits with how you want to be. So to just finish up, because we're just finishing up in a couple of moments here, what I'd like you to do after this session here, when you get time, is actually maybe take 5 or 10 minutes to sit down someplace quiet and really tune into your thinking. Tune into some of the things you're saying to yourself. And some people say, but I never hear what I'm saying myself. It's there. We're talking to ourselves all the time. It's just a skill, it's practice, that you'll start to tune into what you're saying to yourself. If you find that what you're saying to yourself, especially if you're asking yourself about how do I come across, what do I think of myself, if you're beating yourself up, change it. Start speaking to yourself kindly. Start thinking kindly about yourself. So rather than saying, I'm no good at this or I'm no good at that, you can turn around and say, I can learn to do this. I've learned to do things before, step by step. Just putting yourself into the state of learning, a state of feeling good, is enough to change your physiology, to change how you feel, and to change the chemicals. So I hope you've found this useful. I hope you've found something that you can take away with this. It takes time, but believe me, once you start thinking about your thinking, the next step to say to yourself is, okay, what do I need to do next? In fact, one last tiny little technique is, if you're being really unresourceful, press your tongue against the back of your teeth and notice what happens to your self-talk. It stops. Just doing that will stop yourself It stops all this self-talk. And the reason for that is on a microscopic level, even every time you're talking to yourself, the tongue is moving. So when you bring your tongue to a stop, it's absolutely a way that you can actually stop the self-talk. Once you have managed to stop the self-talk, you have to replace it with something else. Okay, I believe my time was up. This is me just coming to the end of this now. So we'll see if there's any of the other guys there.
Fantastic.
Fiona, some great tips there for us.
Do you have any questions before we finish?
Well, do you have any questions, Sarah?
No, I'm just a lady of your own heart. It's very much what we practice ourselves, but as well, we also find that sometimes we do fall back and let our language drop. And unconsciously, we do it.
Me too.
And then, I shouldn't have just said that. But yeah, the way you explain it is just so beautiful. It is just, wow, I'm just like that. And then my internet dropped out and I was like, oh my God, I've got to go back, So no, and I just love this.
And what you can do, you can learn to do that so your mouth, no one sees that you're doing it, but it stops, especially if you do that, then breathe.
Yeah.
Or focus and listen. Now, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been using NLP for 30 years. I was trained by Richard Bandler, and I've been on many of the different trainings with lots of different people. But for me, understanding that you can control your thinking was that just blew me away 30 years ago, and it completely changed my life.
Yeah.
And I know now, as an empowered woman in her late 60s, I'm only warming up.
Yeah.
And that comes from what I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
It is. It's going back, and I've gone back to Richard's training every year for about 6 years, and then I also go back and train with his trainers and learn something new every time. And people say, why do you do it? And I'm like, because I'm in a different mind state. I've shifted forward and I'm picking up more and more. But no, that was absolutely fantastic. So many tips there, and I just love this. I'm going to be doing it now.
That was it for me. I love it. So if anyone wants to connect with Fiona Campbell, her details are there. She's at theprofessionalgrowthcompany.com. So go check her out, see what she has on offer, and, we'll grow together and we'll get to where you are.
Yeah.
Of course you will. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay,
So
and enjoy the rest of the expo, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay,
We've just got one speaker after another. Thank you. We've got one empowerment speaker, one after the other, and it's just been great. We're just going to go to a commercial first, and then we've got another wonderful speaker coming up, and that is Dr. Shirley Clark. She'll be coming up after the ad.
The Best You TV, a TV channel with only the best business leaders and influencers ready to help you rise to the top. Available now on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play. Learn and grow from in-depth interviews, documentaries, inspirational talks, and motivational masterclasses from the world's biggest thought leaders, speakers, teachers, authors, coaches, and highly successful business gurus. The Best You TV is now live. The Best You Store, helping you do more, achieve more, be more. store.thebestyou.co. Are you sick and tired of struggling to get your career to where you want it to be? Working with the right coach can be a life-changing experience, and Bernardo Moya is changing lives all over the world. Learn how to create revenue streams, attract higher qualified clients consistently, market your brand, and promote your business to a global audience. Bernardo is one of the biggest names in the world of personal development. He is an entrepreneur, an author, a speaker, and a founder and chief inspirational officer of the Best You Corporation. So fast track your career now.
So we are back. Hello, Dr. Clark. How are you?
I'm great. Great.
Wonderful to have you here. So we are looking forward to your talk, which is on how to reset your life for success. Ladies, gentlemen, you're going to get lots and lots out from Dr. I'm telling you. So you are an international conference speaker, Destiny personal development coach, TV and radio host, certified life and business coach, millionaire brand strategist, preferred, is that Ramsey Solution Masters financial coach, spiritual advisor, and award-winning #1 Amazon best-selling author. But you know what? There was something I just loved when I heard it. Dr. Clark is called to raise the kingdompreneur. That's the first time I've heard it, and it's so wonderful.
Oh, you're kidding.
It's so good. And to empower women with tools they need to succeed in life. For 20 years as a founder, CEO of Clark's Consulting Firm, LLC, a business incubation management service with 6 departments. This is amazing. You've got a writing agency, PR branding firm, corporate coaching and consulting, event planning and leadership business institute, and entertainment. Listen, when women say that they haven't got time, this lady has time.
You can stop.
That's it.
I just
need to be in this talk.
Because you know what? Sometimes as women, we feel like we haven't got enough. And I'm telling you, we need to learn from you. We really do.
Wow.
Management service, her firm services high-profile clients, 6, 7, and 8-figure millionaires, billionaires, celebrities, corporate executives, professional speakers, authors, city officials, and inspiring entrepreneurs. Do you know what? I suppose you listening to that probably sounds too much, but listen, you've done it, and we're just so glad to have you on the stage.
Thank you so very much.
40 books as well.
Well, they done throw me out here to the wolves. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. You didn't have to read all of that. Here's the thing. I am called to raise up kingdompreneurs, like the host just said. For some, this is a new word, but the reality is if you are moving in the faith-based community now, we really got to master the kingdompreneur anointing. Let's stir this up. I came to talk about resetting your life for success. And that's really what I ended up being when I started out many years ago. I was raised up in gross poverty. And, all of that sounds good. Sometimes we always say you don't know the story behind the glory. It is really true for me. But the thing that I love is that I'm reaching back. At this point in my life, I'm 61 years old. And I'm not ashamed to say I am a Christian. I'm a minister of the gospel. However, I'm for people. And so today, I'm going to share a little bit more of my testimony as I talk about resetting your life for success, because the reality is when you're reared in gross poverty, you have a poverty mindset. And then not only do you have a poverty mindset, you're broke. I often tell people the difference between the two by using our former president of the United States of America. They were offering that former president, Donald Trump, he was broke, but he didn't have a poverty mentality. But I was raised in poverty, and to clear to make sure you clearly understand who Dr. Shirley Clark was, is that there was a point, I was reared, I was born in a little country field where I can look out and see tobaccos and cornfields and all of that. I was the youngest of 7. And so the reality, so I didn't know, my whole mindset was messed up. And what most people were getting in their young age, 6, 7, 8 years old, I got it in my 20s. And so one thing I do know, that our Heavenly Father has designed a prophetic destiny in our lives. And regardless, when we come into that moment, He's able to restore the years. And so I want to say to people who perhaps did not start that way, or if you did start, this message is not about a rags to riches, as it is about resetting your life. We've got COVID-19, a lot of deaths, loss came out of that, mental health issues, a lot of abuse came out of, but regardless, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on before COVID. And so we want to make sure that we don't, I said, muddy the water here. There was a lot of wrong that was already going on. The number one crime, according to my friend who's a former DA here in Dallas County and a retired judge, she said, Dr. Clark, the leading crime in America, it might be around the world, but definitely in America, is sex trafficking. And it was amazing. I said, what? She said, yeah. So there's a lot of pain and a lot of stuff that was going on before COVID. And all COVID did was reveal some of the hidden stuff and some of the other things that came, became a cause after some of the things, layoffs, loss. But the reality is, if we didn't have our faith in something more than just our jobs, our careers, our titles, then we found ourselves not knowing who we were. And so let me just back this train up just a little bit, because by the day I graduated from high school, I say it this way, it was the best of time and the worst of time for me, because I grew up in gross poverty. So throughout school, my family was into, or me for sure, all of us here was into a survival mode. And so that meant that all the time, it was like a 24/7 when I opened my eyes up every morning as a child. I was wondering when the next meal, when I was going to eat the next meal. Will our lights be on tomorrow? Will our water be on? We were one step away always from being homeless. And my mother had a 6th grade education. She was a survivor of domestic violence, needed to leave my father when I was 5, and she was trying to get her life together for 3 years. She put us all in the hands of a caregiver. My dad, a mile away, she went back about 2 hours or more with her family, trying to get her life together to try and get her kids back and everything. And so the reality is, so much took place in those 3 years that scarred her into all of her kids, from sexual abuse to running away, just physical abuse. But I was 5, so I was the youngest, but my older brothers and sisters didn't fare well. But by the time we got back with my mom, I thought at least we had, a roof over our heads. And it was a lot going on those 3 years, but I didn't know going back. And I remember sitting in the car. I was 8 years old in the back seat when it came to the point, my mother, all she got was a cook job. And I remember they said that now it's time for her to get her kids back. And they said they're going to send the youngest down first, the first 3. And I remember sitting in the back seat, because I remember the days my brother then being abused physically, all of us. But I remember my older brothers, they were teenagers and things. And so I remember looking out, seeing him run away from home. They can't take it anymore. They're teenagers. They're fighting back. Now, at 8 years old, I was in the back seat of the car going down the winding road. And I said to myself, I'm going home to be with my mom, and everything's going to be all right. Unfortunately, everything didn't pan out the way I thought. My mother only had a 6th grade education. Now 7 kids have been given back to her. All of them scarred, all of them abused, some molested, just messed up completely. My dad was illiterate and alcoholic. And my mother, no matter what she did, we never had enough. And so when it came time to finish school, and it was just really all of my siblings dropped out. Even where people came in to help, said we'll help your oldest daughter go to college, different things. Their minds was messed up. There've been all types of things have been done to us. And so when it came down to me, I was still, even though a lot of them was gone, things had happened to them, alcoholic. I can go on 4 generations of no one in my family having a higher education degree. So starting out like that, you think, hey, this is going to be a rough time. It was. And all the way through high school. And so when it came to my graduation day, I was still survivor mode, dressed like a clown, going to school. Of course, you deal with all the shame. I didn't even know there was such a thing as college, because the teachers looked at me and said I was not qualified based on the way I looked. And I say to you all as educators today, shame on you if you did. And look where I am today, and you'll find out where I am. But the key is that I sat at my graduation, not knowing whether they were going to call my name or not. And I had my mother and my sister. So it was the best of time and worst of time, because I needed the second semester of English to graduate. And I just failed the first semester. So I didn't know. And I sat there with such pain in my heart, tormented, didn't know. And so they did call my name, but you have to understand, I felt like a fraud for over 30 some years, about 35 years or more. I think it was somewhere between, I'll say 33 now, it's 33, 35 years. They called my name, but I couldn't necessarily rejoice, because I went across the stage to get a diploma, knowing that I could not write a complete sentence. All I could do was write a run-on sentence. And so, for 30 some years, I lived under that fraud bubble. And so I was able at age 25, I believe it was, I married up, and I was still trying to figure out this world. At age 18, I think 16 and something, started working a little bit, got a little money, get a little my self-esteem was so low. I can't even begin to tell you the level of my self-esteem, and just couldn't even pronounce the fact that I'm talking to you today. It tells you that we really do have a creator that's bigger than our problems, bigger than what we've gone through, bigger than our past, bigger than what we're going through right now. And I remember not even being able to pronounce, just so much poverty, so much pain, so much fear, just no self-esteem. Not being able to pronounce words that begin with my name, Shirley, S words. And now God to raise me up to be an international speaker. But I married up, and I married into a family that I had never seen before. And that was my educated African-American family. All of my husband's family, they were taught that whole side of, as an African-American, the way to rise up in America is to, go through the educational gate. And they did. There was lawyers, there were teachers, there was accounting. So I thought, it was a world that I had never been exposed to. You got to remember, 4 generations, no degree, no higher education degrees. Most of them are dropouts, alcoholics. I can go on. But so I married up, and so eventually I heard about the American dream. So eventually I got what I found out about it, and it was it's the thing of you get married, you get a good job, you have a child, you get your home, and you get a car and all of that. But the reality is, I found out it didn't take me a long time, but it did take me some years to recognize that the American dream was American nightmare. And so that brings me up to where I am today, where we are today, having to reset my life for success. I found out that the American dream, like many of you found out, even more so during COVID-19, all of the loans, all of the debt, all of that stuff you had that you were operating your business on, all of the, the default systems and things that you had your life set on, you recognize that, hey, the universe was not on your side. And so you found out that everything that you was depending on, your money, your role, your marriage, all of that stuff that you titles, you realize that it was a faulty system. You have been hoodwinked. Just like me, I recognized the American dream when my husband and I found ourselves in about $80,000 worth of debt, consumer debt. And, because they told us to have it our way. That's what they tell us on the card. Get it, travel all around the world. And so we found ourselves at a point where they told us to file bankruptcy. But because I was a praying woman and I knew the Lord, and I had been leading prayer groups, I just did not feel like that was it. And many of you are needing a reset right now, like I did. And so I, at that moment though, I felt a higher calling for wealth. I felt the need to reset my life. I didn't know how it was going to happen. All I know that there had to be a change. And I know that you hear the saying, the old adage is that, you can't continue to expect change if you're doing the same thing. And so I began to hear in my spirit that I need to spend some time just hearing, just being quiet in a soaking mode, just hearing and believing that God will give me ideals. At that time, I said, okay, I'm going down for my wealth. I had the business, but I had a broke business. Sometimes you can be an entrepreneur, business owner, and your business not making money. That was me. Let's see, 10, 12 years ago. No, money was in and out, but not at the level that I wanted to say I was successful. And, and so so let me just say in the midst of this, as I get ready to reset and tell you about resetting your life for success, because there's some changes I had to make in order for me to be standing or sitting on this stool right now to share with you at this expo time. And for this new family, I found the Best You Expo, my new family. And I want to thank all of you that's behind the scene working, because from what I've heard from Fiona and the things that I heard, the bits and pieces already today, I'm telling you, it's about a new mindset. I found out the day I went down, I said, I'm getting ready to get my reset. I'm getting ready to change my life. There has to be a way that my wealth can change, as well as my spiritual growth, and just in general grow as a businesswoman. And that's when I read in a book that says that the day that you decide to become wealthy, millionaire, or so, it was the way it said, it was the day that you decide to become wealthy or millionaire, or Richard said, it's the day that that the universe, it said, will come in alignment with you to make it happen. I was getting ready to read it again. And let me tell you, that was the first day. I said, no, there's something has to change. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to get up. I'm going to get up and lay out and just be quiet, meditate, and hear my wealth streams. I began to read the Bible. It said that Hebrews 11:6, that God will reward those that diligently seek him. And I heard that, and I heard in my spirit to look up the word reward, and it meant wages. So I said, all I have to do is lay out in my Creator's atmosphere and in his presence more, and you're going to download information. I really went down. I just said, I want more in life. I want an Amazon, and we say anointing. I want a PayPal anointing. I want a Facebook anointing. I want my wealthy place. I am not going to file bankruptcy. So I decided, okay, all you need me to do is lay out. And the good book said that you're going to give me power to produce wealth. And then I said, well, then I need to hear something I never heard before. So I laid out and laid out and laid out. So the first thing I knew I had to do, number one, as I get ready to move quickly on this, is that I had to make a conscious effort to make a change. And that's what I want you to know today. I'm coming today after my sisters. I decided today I wanted to be in the room with the sisters. I was reading a manuscript in, I think it was September this last year. and it was about 15 sisters was, women's were writing in the book. And everyone, besides one, was telling the story how it was a co-author book, how they had been married, how their lives were ripped apart, they were divorced, they lost everything and everything. I said, oh, you know what? It made me think I need to tell our sisters now. I'm coming out. That's why I said, put me in the empowerment room for the women. I need to tell the sisters, listen, keep your heart, but get your head straight. You have a right to want somebody to love you. But I'm here for the sisters. I'm here for the women to tell them today, hey, in the midst of your heart being in love, I want you to know today you got to keep your head straight to get your wealthy place. You got to set up, make sure when I read that people were losing whole businesses, the buildings, they're in debt because of things, their relationship they lost. I said, I'm coming to tell them, listen, today I want to be the voice of reasoning to you to tell you, you're ready. If you're ready to change, this is the time you need to prepare yourself for your next. So the next man that come into your life, your next lover, your next husband, you will be ready to say, no, I got a mindset that I know how to create wealth with or without a man. And not only that, I will protect my wealth. So that's what I had to do. I got on the floor as I just laid out for 4 years, because it says that the day that I decide to become wealthy, it's the day that the universe will come in alignment and make it happen. And so I said, oh, so it means the reason I'm broke today, the reason Dr. Shirley Clarke is broke today is about a decision. I said, well, I can change that. So today I'm going to make a decision to become a millionaire. My life radically changed just because of a decision. I'm telling you today that you have to be intentional. And then I read in a book that says that rich people educate themselves, poor people entertain themselves. And I'm going to say that again. Rich people educate themselves, poor people entertain themselves. Guess what Dr. Clarke did? I devoured every book about a millionaire that I could read. Everybody that was a millionaire. I didn't read about the economy. I didn't read about all the stocks. I read books by millionaires because it said that rich people educate themselves. So I made a decision to dislodge every thought in my brain. I commanded every faculty of my brain to operate at an optimal level. And then as I lay down in the morning, I began to hear ideals, strategies, how to better work my vision. It's, every dream will require some type of sacrifice. So I laid out from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. every morning with my pen and piece of paper, listening, hearing what I heard. Do a $10,000 package, do a $20,000, $15,000, telling me how to do it. I got up and did it. What I found out, number 2, is that I was made for more. I was made for more. Inside of every human being, I only got about 3 more minutes. There are seeds of greatness. I'm telling you, sisters, you have bigger seeds of greatness. I don't care what you lost. It's not about your loss. It's where you're going to go get your money. There are hidden things. There are riches in the darkness. You have to discover what everything that God has. Listen, you got to go and find. Go get your wealthy place. Stop licking your wounds now. So what? Listen, get your head straight. Go get your money. Get position. And I'm telling you, this truly will shift your life. I did it for 4 years, wrote the book, Pray and Grow Rich. I told you what I did. I became a gated community. I watched what I saw. I became a producer and not a consumer. I stopped watching TV. It says that the day the TV, you should never, it says that if you're not making $20,000 a month, you need to throw your TV away. Basically what it's saying, it's a consumer entity. It will reduce your income by watching more TV. Listen, number 3, let me get to this. I'm getting ready to close. Listen, mistakes will happen along the way, but listen, you got to press forward. You got to raise your hand and hit the reset button. That's no. Whatever goes wrong, I'm going to fail forward. That's number 3. Always fall forward. You got to go to school every time you wake up in the morning. The universe is here to help you. When you get up intentionally, the universe will help speed up things for you. You got to come up, waking up, intentional to do great things that day. You can't be sitting around wondering what happened yesterday. You got to create the world you want. I'm about releasing energy for my future. And I want you to know that my income has increased over 3 times, 7 times. I'm a millionaire brand strategist. Most of my clients, 90% now, are 7-figure. I work with 6, 7-figure and 8-figure interface. I've been on so many platforms. You got to increase what I did. What did I do? Number 4, I increased my value and worth. See, the quickest way to increase your value and worth is to become a lifelong student. That's what it told me. I just need, if you want to make more money, learn something new. So every day, guess what? Dr. Clark, learn something new. If you want to make more money in life, then you got to read more material about wealth, finance, and money. This is not a time. If you're broke, if you're hurting, you don't know how to go to your next, then your next is tied to what you know. So you need to know more so your next will grow more. Oh my God. Listen, if you want me, listen, I now have a mastermind class called Pray and Grow Richer Mastermind Wealth Class. My people get in there and they get debt cancellation because I'm not about worrying about debt. I'm no longer raising up. I tell people I'm not raising up creditpreneurs. I'm not raising up debtpreneurs. I'm raising up kingdompreneurs. Listen, that's my story. And I'm sticking to it. So what I need you to do, if you want to know more about me, go visit my website. We do everything. We've got our 4 magazines. Finna have 3 more this year. Finna have, listen, I take people from zero factor to whatever God wants. They on stage, they're in magazines, whatever you need. This is a time I'm giving back in this season. God has blessed my life, and I want to make sure I bless others. I'm an advocate for your success. No more licking your wounds. We're about healing wounds and moving forward now. Listen, you want me to coach you? Go to my website, drshirleyclark.org. You want to be a certified life coach? Go to my, certified speaker, whatever you want. I'm telling you, God has surrounded me with great people. Hey, I'm going to say it again. This is my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Absolutely amazing. I just love your energy. You are just want to take you over me.
Yeah, man. You just touched there, Dr. Clark.
What'd you say, Ruth?
I said you took us to church.
Hey, I don't know. Ruth,
I heard it. Amazing.
You know, it's my story, and thank you all for this time. You know, it's real, and I want people to know they can make it. No matter where you're at, you can make it. I am debt free. COVID-19, I got debt free in COVID-19.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. So you've written over about 40 books. What is your favorite book you've written out of all of them? Because you've just written so many. So if someone was sitting here now watching, what book would you say would be the most valuable to them at this time?
Pray and Grow Richer. It is my world bestseller, and it shares everything I did to get there. So you don't have any guessings, you know, the links, the books, every step I did. And I want to make sure people make it.
Fantastic. Any questions, Ruth?
No, absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to go there because I'm actually going through Think and Grow Rich like the 4th, 5th time now. And so, you know, when I heard that, I was like, yeah, let's put some on that too. So that's so amazing.
Yeah, and it's a takeoff of that. But my richer is that I felt I got closer to the one who made me. And it was the soaking that created the wealth for me. So that's why I put the ER and say, soak your way into your wealth. Most of us talk too much, and I know, you know, the world is too noisy. And we work out of that old system instead of a new system that was not. That system is set up to fail either way. You know, 76% of people 54% don't even have $1,000 in the bank for emergency. You know, 1.4 million trillion people in America on school loan debt. So there's a lot of stuff. And when I was paying off my credit, they was trying to give me another card. I'm on a cadet collection. Listen, I'm selling the debt. I don't need another credit card. So that's what I'm saying, the system. So I want to get people out to think right now. Okay? Thank you all
so much. Thank you so much. So we've got another speaker coming up, but we're going to have a short commercial break, and then we're going to be introducing our next phenomenal speaker to you.
The Best You TV, a TV channel with only the best business leaders and influencers ready to help you rise to the top. Available now on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google Play. Learn and grow from in-depth interviews, documentaries, inspirational talks, and motivational masterclasses from the world's biggest thought leaders, speakers, teachers, authors, coaches, and highly successful business gurus. The Best You TV is now live. The Best You Online. Featuring in-depth interviews, motivational talks, and inspiring masterclasses from the world's top experts, motivational speakers, business gurus, and thought leaders. Leaders and influencers from all over the world are here to share their knowledge and skills with you. The Best You Online is a priceless mine of personal development wisdom, knowledge, and practical information to help you take charge of your life and take you, your business, and career beyond where you have always wanted to go. The Best You Online.
Hi, and welcome back to the Best You Virtual Expo. And our next speaker is Dr. Faye Wilson. And we did try and get her last a few hours ago, but she had technical problems. So we're going to bring her straight back into the field. She's a confident coach, a spiritual coach, personal development coach as well. Dr. Faye has enterprises and businesses all over the world, and she elevates her money and flow. Her boutique and signature talks will leave you inspired and transformed. She is limited and lifeless, and relaunches will await you as Dr. Faye returns to our screens now. So welcome, Dr. Faye.
Thank you. Yes.
Hey.
So exciting. So exciting to be here.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah. Well, it's just great to be here. I've been on tour with the Best You for a few months now, out of 2020 into 2021. And my mission is simple. It's real simple. It's to get people to where they need to go. And I think 2021 that we are here. This is the time that opportunity is knocking. And I said, someone has to open the door. When all doors have been closed, opportunity is right there. And we need to know to hear what the Spirit is saying and jump in as soon as we hear that knock. We have to understand the sound that time is making right now for us. And this is our moment. This is our finest moment. There's never been a time like this on the planet. And this is the moment for millionaires and billionaires to be born more than any time in history.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, definitely. So we look forward to hearing what you've got to say. I've got my notepad and pen because I'm just knowing from your energy, this is just going to be overload.
I'm excited. I'm in my space. I love television. I love doing things to change lives. And you have to pardon me. The light is just so in my eyes right now. So folks, ignore any issues with my camera and lighting right now. I want you to focus in on what I have to say. I only have a few minutes, so it may not be long, but it'll be strong. This is the year of bold new beginnings. How many of you have been laboring? You have tried coaching program after coaching program. They're on your dusty virtual chef right now. You have gone to conferences and meetings, and still now you feel exhausted like the hamster on the wheel, going nowhere fast. And you're wondering, how in the world am I ever going to live the life that I know I was born to live? To be the dreamer, to be that person that other people will be able to be attracted to their destiny and purpose. Well, I've got news you can use, because this is your greatest moment. This is your opportunity to shine. See, because someone is waiting to hear your message, your story, your energy, your power is so needful in 2021 and beyond. As we launch new programs around the world using our own television network. And I say, you know, you can't throw your TV away if you're not watching the Best You TV. You can't forget about everything else unless you're watching programming like this that will focus on your destiny and your purpose. So what I put together for you in this brief period of time is to help you to go from zero to hero or zero to shero. There's a book in the Bible, and it's one of my favorite books, if not my favorite of all times. It is the book of Genesis. I call it the law of beginnings. Everything in the first chapter of Genesis is what was about a power word, and it was called let. Somebody say let, hashtag let if you're online. Let. It is a power word because it has an understood subject, and the understood subject is you. You let. You let. When God spoke the worlds into existence, he spoke it in this way, let there be. When we begin to open our mouths and begin to say, let there be, the worlds will begin to change. Our world will begin to change. You see, whatever we think about and speak about, we bring about. We are the author of our own next level. We are the author of our own new world. We are the author of our own change. We've all heard the saying that change is inevitable, but you know, change is not always good and it doesn't always feel good. But I'm here to tell you today that the change that I'm talking about will feel good. It'll feel good because you'll be coming from a power place. Now I want you to take a moment and to begin in your mind to design the life that you want. Because after all, that's what the Creator did. He already knew the outcome from the beginning. So he began to speak to the outcome, not circumstances or situations, because scripture says that the earth was void. There was darkness, but he didn't speak to that. He was speaking to the thing that he wanted, the let there be. You know, through academics and public schools and systems of this world, we've been trained and taught to be normal. And I teach my students that you don't want to be normal. You don't want to be average. That's poverty. I understood why Jesus said the poor you're going to have always, because normal people are always going to will be here. But you're not normal. You don't want to be normal. You don't want to be average. You want to be exceptional. You want to be divinely guided, divinely led in everything you see and everything you do. You see, our issue is not that we are inadequate, and we've all heard this. Our issue is that we are so powerful, it scares us. When we begin to tap into the true self of ourselves and understand our mission and our plan, we'll begin to realize that we're so much bigger than we were ever taught in academia. How many of you are using the tools that you learned in college? You're using what you learned in high school, whatever. You're using those tools. I'm not using those tools. Why? Because that was normal. That was the structure. But when I came into the realization and the revelation that I was greater than what I had been taught in academia, nothing wrong with having degrees. I've got enough to plaster a wall. But aside from that, the true self of myself could not be taught in a classroom as such. It could not be taught by people who could only give away what they possessed, because it can only be taught by understanding who we were created to be in the first place. So in the law of first mention in the book of Genesis, the beginnings, we find that we were created to do certain things in the earth. That was to subdue, to dominate, to multiply, increase, to have dominion. Those are power words. Those power words are spoken to people who were created in the image of the Creator. They were created to thrive and not strive. They were created to be kings and priests in the earth. I know it's difficult for some to wrap their minds around this, but yet if you ponder it for just a moment, you will realize that those dreams that you had when you were a child, that thing that you wanted to do when you were in the 5th and 6th grade, when you were asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? That thing is the desire of God for your life. God desires that we prosper. God desires that you be wealthy. Oh, well, some of us got to be poor. Well, you can be, but I refuse to go to that school. Some of us have been trained that poverty is okay. We've heard words like money doesn't grow on trees. How many of you heard that from your grandparents? Or money is hard to come by. And we lived in those spaces, and it has allowed us to stay in those spaces. And so when we have opportunities to access more, to be more, and to do more, we begin to shy away from it because we think we don't qualify. But the Bible says that we are created in the image of God, and darlings, that qualifies us for a lot of things. It qualifies you to step up into wealth, step up into health. And I know many people are suffering in their bodies physically, and you're wondering, well, Dr. Faye, I've got the money, but I don't have the health. You know, wealth is more than money. Wealth is spirit, soul, and body. And when God created us, he created us by breathing the breath of life into mankind. And mankind became a new species of being that never existed before. You see, wholeness is a spiritual word, nothing missing and nothing broken. Another word for wholeness has been used, is used as salvation. It means that you've got health, you've got wealth built into you. You've got good relationships built into you. These are the days of new beginnings. And God is saying to you today that I'm giving you a new slate, a new canvas, that old things are passed away, and behold, all things have become new. I had notes, but how many of you know sometimes you just got to flow with it? Many of you are stuck in places, and you've been stuck there for so long, and you've been waiting for a voice, a sound, a trumpet to blow that will get you up out of that place so that you can move to your next level. And you hear the conversations, and you know that it's speaking to you, but somehow you still feel stuck. That's what coaching will do. It gets you out of those places where you have been stuck. And I've learned over time that when people are stuck in their bodies, they're usually stuck in other ways, emotionally, mentally, because of things that you've gone through, heartbreaks and disappointments and trials that you've had in your life. I spoke this teaching just a couple of nights ago, and I can tell you this, that out of this teaching was birthed so many powerful people and students of mine, and the testimonies are extremely powerful. And I want to share this with you. I shared this with coaching students, but I want to share it with you. When I was a child, my grandmother would go into the kitchen, and she put a pinch of this, a dash of this, and a sprinkle of that in her pots. I never saw her use a measuring cup or a measuring tool, but every time she served the dish, it came out wonderful. My grandmother understood the secret of secret sauces. And each one of us, through life, we gather different ingredients through our trials, the turbulence that comes our way. Through our lives, our heartbreaks and our disappointments, our setbacks, that divorce that you had that was horrible, that job loss, that business that crumbled during the pandemic. And you're wondering how you're going to make it, how you're going to get through this. You're watching these television shows today on The Best You, and through this weekend, you're glued to the television, and you should be, because that's a great place to be. But you still don't understand who you are yet and what you're supposed to do. But I want you to understand this right now today, if you would, please. Everything you've gone through is a sprinkle of this and a dash of that, and a little bit of this and a little bit of that will make the secret sauce, that mission, that book, that plan, that project, that business that God has called you to build. It is about your calling and your mission right now. And every one of us has been called to one. You may not know the name of it. You may not know how to brand it. That's what a coach will do. Help you to understand your branding, help you to understand what it means to put the marketing strategies together, to get it out there so that you can serve humanity. It's so much more than making the next million. I tell you, that's great. But I know people who have made millions and have lost them overnight. It's about you understanding your secret sauce. It's about you understanding that there's a people that are waiting for you to open your mouth and begin to tell your message, to write your book, to write your song, to do whatever it is you've been called to do. There is someone waiting in the shadows to say, who's going to pull me out? Who's going to save me today? Who is my helper? Who will deliver me out of my own sticky places? Who will get me unstuck? I want to be one of those voices for you to help you get unstuck, because you've got secret sauce and your tribe is waiting on you. Maybe you're a battered woman. You've been through some hellish things in your life. I am from a home where I watched my dad beat my mom to the day she died. And I am here to tell you, ladies, that you can recover and recover all. That's part of my secret sauce. The things that you have been through, your trials, your tragedies, your loss makes the secret sauce. Those are ingredients. So don't think it's strange concerning the fiery trials, which are to try you as though some strange thing happened to you. You've got what it takes to get to your next level on the inside of yourself. But it takes a decision. Everywhere I listen, and my coaches have drilled me. I believe every coach should have a coach, and I've got about 6 right now on board, paid for, on board, because I understand the power of someone pouring into my life. I understand the value of me. I discovered that I'm worth saving too. You must discover today that you're worth serving. I don't want you to put this off because it's urgent. There's someone depending on your sauce. There's someone waiting on you to come forth on the stage. Book the best you next season, next tour. Book it. Get on stage. Begin to share your secret sauce with the world. You've got a tribe waiting for your arrival. You see, when you've been through so much hell, sometimes you forget who you are. And we as women, we've given ourselves away to everything and everybody because we're such a giver. We're mothers by nature. And we're nurturers. We want to save and we want to help. I wanted to save and I wanted to help my daddy. I wanted to save and I wanted to help my mama as a child, and I couldn't do it. But let me tell you something. The first person you've got to save is yourself. And when you put the mask over yourself, and I don't mean the COVID mask, but that one too. But when you put the mask over yourself, as they tell you in flight, you have to put it over yourself first, and then you can save the person that you're traveling with. You've got to heal yourselves, women. It's time for you to start nurturing yourselves again. It's time for you to step up and be the strong, vibrant being that you've been created to be. If I serve no other purpose here today, I serve a purpose to inspire you to be transformed, because you can do this. If you've been shaken before and it has yielded negative responses, get shaken again today and say, you know what? I'm not wearing those old frames that have been put on me. I'm not wearing those old clothes anymore. I am stepping up and owning who I am this time. There's a story that I love, and I don't know how much time I have. I just watched the camera, not the clock. But I'm here to tell you today. There's a story that I love, and I love so well, and it's the story of Esther. Esther was a woman who was given to being an orphan, and she was out taking care of Mordecai, serving him in her highest and best way that she could. And a vacancy was declared in the kingdom by Vashti, who became her own woman. I got nothing against Vashti. Any woman that decides to say no has a right to say no. And as Vashti began to deny the king, she was rejected from being the queen. She was booted out of the kingdom. And as she was booted out of the kingdom, a vacancy was declared for the throne of the queen. Esther was brought in to compete for the title of queen. There was a gentleman there who was called a eunuch. He was a castrated male. And he's the one that has been given less attention in most teaching and preaching than any other character in scripture. But he saw something in Esther that he didn't see in the other virgins that were brought in. So Esther found favor with him, and for the next year, he poured into her how the queen should walk, how the queen should talk. After all, he had been around Vashti. So he understood the anointing of the queen, and he began to pour it into Esther. So after a year, she was ready. So all of the other women were passed before King Ahasuerus. They went out, but they were never called back. After 2 years, Esther was called in. She came in again and again and again. Why? Because she found the right coach. The eunuch became her coach. He saw something in her that she could not see in herself. And because he valued, wow, what he saw, he knew that she had been coached how to sit, how to approach the king. She was ready for the crown, because nobody else can sit in your seat or wear your crown when you connect with the right coach. You see, boldnewbeginnings.com is launched for those people just like you who are saying, you know what? I tried everything. I want my crown. I want my seat. I want my rightful place in the kingdom. I want to rise up and sit where I have been called. And I am not going to give up, cave in, and quit. I will arise from the ashes like the proverbial phoenix rising from the ashes. All of the stuff, all of the craziness that's happened in your life has birthed something beautiful in you. And you're speaking now, let there be. Let there be this queen. Let there be this woman of destiny. Let there be this businesswoman, this corporate giant, this 7-8 figure person, 9, I don't care, whatever it is. Because of his kingdom, there is no end. Our limitations are only set by our own thinking. So let this brief time with me today manifest a shift in your thinking. Wow. And when I say wow now, it means work on wealth. And I say it often this year. Let this be your moment that you turn and begin to see, regardless of where you come from, that doesn't matter. Those are just the ingredients to your sauce. And there's more to you than meets the eye. You will not lose. One final thought. We've often heard that people say that they're afraid to fail. And what I've shared with people, and I want to share with you, is that failure is the best thing that could ever happen to a successful person. Because failure says, I've been there. I've done that. I've experienced something. I've gotten out of the boat and I'm walking on the water. And I'm going to keep on walking. I know where the traps are now. I know who's not my boo. I know who's not my BFF. I don't even know if those words are still used, but still. I know what's not for me because I've been there and I've done that. So come up out of self-condemnation and self-loathing, all of these things that you think you're not, and rise up from that place, because like God, I see the end from the beginning. I see that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. I see that you're a very powerful, intuitive being, and you've got every tool that you need resident on the inside of you to build that corporation, to write that book, to make that dream come true, to star in your own show, to be the head of an organization, or I like to say an organism, which is a living, breathing entity. You are somebody's trumpet that must be blown so that they can arise to their next level. And I believe that our time with you today has spoken to your heart and to your mind. So I want you to join me in bold new beginnings. Yes, you. Bold new beginnings. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, new business owners, this is your moment to step up, to arise, and to shine, because there's nobody like you. There's no one who can do the things that you can do but you. The world has been waiting on your arrival, and you have come. And you're saying, yes, that's me, that's me, that's me, Dr. Faye, that's me. I want to be part of that tribe. I want to be part of that voice. I want to be one of those voices in bold new beginnings. I want to be that person that can change the world. I know I have it in me. My dreams are my reality. I see the end from the beginning. I see myself sitting on that throne. I see myself running that corporation. I see myself living in the home of my dreams. I see myself driving that vehicle of my dreams. I see myself being debt free, like Dr. Carter talked about. I believe her name. If I messed that up, forgive me. I see myself being there now. You see, the moment you see yourself there, then you begin to feel yourself in that place. You will activate it in the present moment, because what you see can never stay away from you. And whatever you put your attitude, attention, and awareness on, you begin to attract it to you. No good thing will be withheld from you, because now you're walking right where you belong. You are powerful. You are wonderful. You are truly God's appointed voice for this hour. So join me for boldnewbeginnings.com. God bless you. That's all I have, folks. Are we done?
Ruth, do you have any questions?
It's just a blessing, you know, because today, empowering women, it's like we really have gone to church on some of the things. A lot of it was scriptural based, and you are a spiritual and personal development coach. So it's good that we're not only just looking at our minds, our body, but we're taking a closer look at our spirit. And this is how we develop. It's like the 3-in-1.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what I've discovered over time, and I've been doing this for a long time, is that when we're focused on the money always seems to escape us after time. But when we focus on ourselves and becoming whole, wow, money loves us. It's just starts showing up in different ways. It may be, I can't even begin to tell you the many different ways, because God is the source. The resource can be anything at any time. And so if you're not an author, if you're not a coach, don't despair. Whatever it is that's on the inside of you, just remember the source and focus in on becoming whole, becoming healed emotionally. Because of the pandemic, so many people are mentally and emotionally wounded. And I have a mission. Let's get you healed. Let's get you whole. The money will flow. It can't go anywhere but to you. It has to. It loves you. It's been waiting for you to be in a position and postured so it can come home to you. It's always there. And it's not going to leave you. It will stay there. We've all known people who become multimillionaires, whether it's through the lottery or whatever people, and then they interview them a few months later, they don't have a dime. Why? Because this wasn't right. The mind wasn't fixed. So we do a lot of mind work and transformation teaching to help people attract and keep not only money, but whether it's relationships, everything matters. Families are transformed, lives are changed. Women who have been abused know that they deserve more. And then they go forth and then they build those businesses and change the world.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate your insight, your thoughts. And if anyone's interested in finding Dr. Faye Wilson, you can go to www.drfaye.com. We thank you. God blessings be bestowed into you. And we're just going to clip over to a short break with our legendary man of this moment.
Seems we have a little.
You are a player. And it's lonely at the top, but you eat better. Yes. And so as you look at yourself, look at your goals, understand and know everybody is not going to see it. And understand, know this, you're not like everybody else. Majority of people are looking at things that will give them relief from stress, escapism, watching sports. You're not a spectator, you're a player. And get to know that, and that it's lonely at the top. Understand that when you're pursuing your goals and dreams, when you're disciplined, you have something you're working on, you are committed, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts should be established. All thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. You are a player. And it's lonely at the top, but you eat better. Yes. And so as you look at yourself, look at your goals, understand and know everybody is not going to see it. But it's not necessary that everyone sees it. You see it. That's what's important. You believe it.
He said, I'll give you all your eyes can see.
Yes.
So I used to ask the audience, what you looking at?
Yeah. Right.
What
Yeah.
do you see for yourself?
And when you operate from that kind of thinking, the possibilities are just unlimited. Now, there are some of you who have questions that you'd like to ask, and we want you to get ready to ask your questions because we would love to answer your questions. We have so much more to share with you. We have to condense 3 days in a very short period of time. And there's some of you that have a story, some of you that want to make a difference, some of you right now saying, I'm trying to figure out where do I go from here? Some of you among those over 50 million people have been laid off. Some of you are those who have been eliminated by the job market because of artificial intelligence, robots, or cheap labor abroad. But here's what we know. You are greater than anything that's ever happened to you. Here's what we know. You have greatness in you. I've heard people say, it's not over till the fat woman sings. Well, some people quit when she's just clearing her throat. And they quit. No!
And if you have by chance been laid off, if you have by chance been given a pink slip, if you have by chance had your hours decreased, please know that you weren't laid off. You were released to your highest good.
Yes. Helen Keller said, when one door closes, another door opens. But most of us spend time talking about, complaining about, crying about the closed door. We don't see the open door. Had I not been fired from WVKO radio station, I would not have become a state representative from the 29th district in Columbus, Ohio, and passed 14 bills my first term. Had I not been available to resign from the Ohio legislature, to go back to Miami to take care of Mama when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. I remember ringing the doorbell and Miss Mildred answering the door and said, Mamie, Leslie's here. And hearing your grandmother say, I knew my boy would come. I knew my boy would come. Had I not been fired, I would not be a motivational speaker and spoken in over 51 countries and been able to build a business with my children, and now working on my grandchildren and great grands. Had I not been fired, I would have not been able to touch the lives of millions of people around the world and have a business that will outlive me, that will go into the future. Everything happens for our good. My prayer has been, Lord, give me this if it's for my highest good. If not, give me its equivalent or something better. Trust me on this. There's something better for you. Trust me on this. Believe in you. Become a risk taker. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? Leap and grow your wings on the way down. Walk by faith and not by sight. You've got the power. There's more in you than you realize. There's a presence. There's an energy that you have. There are ideas. The money has not left the planet. There's no shortage of money, just a shortage of thinking and imagination and people with the courage and the innovative mindset to carve out a place for themselves in the economy. What do you want to do next with your life? What does that next chapter look like for you? They want to ask some questions? Land the plane? Okay, very good. We got 5 minutes to land this plane. Very good. What would you like to say? And then I'll be the cleanup man.
I'm proud of you and you're amazing.
Very good. Thank you so much for your brevity. Here's what I'd like to say to you. As you think about your goals and dreams, it's possible. It's possible. There's some things you can't say that you can do and be in integrity. But you can say, if anybody at any point in time had a dream and made it happen, then it's possible I can have my dream, because those people are only an example. They're not an exception. Your dream, it's possible. I did not live this dream that I'm now living for 14 years because I was suffering from possibility blindness. I just couldn't see myself doing it. I didn't see myself speaking for corporations. I'd never worked for a major corporation. I didn't see myself having the credibility because I didn't have the money poured into me like a Tony Robbins who had millions of dollars poured into him for an infomercial. I didn't have that. He had the complexion of connection. I have the complexion of rejection. But I believed that it was possible. And that it was necessary. When you believe your dream is necessary, you will find a way. When you believe your dream is necessary, you'll make a way out of no way. People who believe their dream is necessary take no prisoners and eat the wounded. And it's you. George Bernard Shaw said the people that make it in this life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. And it's hard. It's hard when you lose your job. You never saw it coming. It's hard when you have creditors breathing down your neck and you're scared to answer the phone. Got the children lying like I used to. My daddy said he ain't home. It's hard. You can't even think right. But you can do hard. You can do hard. It's easy to give yourself a pass, to be depressed, to feel sorry for yourself, to worry, to look at the bills. Oh, what am I going to do now? No. You don't want to be a worrier. You want to be a warrior. You can do hard, and it's worth it. Our kids are watching us. It's worth it. Your life is worth it. You were chosen for such a time as this. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which I fought aside. You've come over a way that with tears have been watered would come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered. You're here for a reason. You were called to be here. There's a calling on your life. Your voice, your story, your gifts, your talents are needed now more than ever before. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy.
And Dr. Ona, your pride and joy.
My pride and joy. Saying it's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. We love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
You got to look at yourself as a brand. A lot of people don't necessarily do that. And in order to stand out, you need to be different. Don't be a copycat. There's a lot of people doing the same kind of things and copying a lot of other people. What you need to start doing is you need to start positioning yourself as a unique individual with unique expertise. There's a lot of people that want to make a difference, but they're not following their own messages. They're not following whatever it is that they preach. So I highly recommend that you walk your talk. You don't copy other people. You take yourself seriously. You take your brand seriously, but you also look at opportunities to either partner with people or find the platforms where you can speak. The platforms where you're going to have hundreds or thousands of people attending. And that's the best way for you to start connecting and meeting and working with individuals. It's the best, it's the easiest way, and it can happen very, very quickly. Hi, it's Bernardo Moya. I'm the founder of The Best You. I wanted to share with you my vision, my dream, the concept of The Best You. The well-being industry is worth $3 trillion. Why? Because everyone wants to become the best version of themselves. The well-being industry is massive, but there isn't a place where you could connect with everyone, a place where speakers, authors, leaders could share their expertise, and a place where people that are looking, seeking, interested in finding that knowledge for them to connect. So The Best You is a multi-platform, global platform. And what we have is we have a variety of products and services. Our first thing is the Best You Expo. Now, we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and over these last 5 years, we've had close to 70,000 people attend, and we promoted more than 700 speakers. Additionally to that, because we filmed every single event, we have more than 700 talks from world leaders, all in one library of content. Additionally to that, the Best You magazine with interviews with world leaders and experts on any and every subject related to personal and professional growth. And one of the most exciting projects that we're involved in now is the Best You Legacy Clubs. This will become the biggest, largest network for people in personal, professional growth. The Best You is now the fastest growing personal development platform on the planet. And the reason being is because we literally cater for anyone and everyone's needs in the well-being industry. Look, the difference between this event and any other event that you've seen out there is that the Best You has a very clear purpose. Our purpose is to help individuals find ultimately what they're here for, what their legacy is going to be. But we only really work with like-minded individuals. We work with people that believe in the same kind of values that we have. And that is that personal and professional growth is about helping others, not only helping yourself, if you know what I mean. Because there's a lot of that. There's all these events which are literally sales fest. We're not that. If that's what you're looking for, you need to go elsewhere. But if you're interested in working with a brand that has a phenomenal reputation, that is only working with the best, I hope you join us, because this is it.
Now, the Best You Personal and Professional Development Virtual Expos are happening globally in 2020 and 2021. If you are a coach, a motivational speaker, a therapist, and are looking to transform your business, build a community, and generate customers from a global audience, this is the opportunity for you. Now is your chance to join forces with the Best You, one of the largest personal development brands on the planet. Book your speaking slot, your virtual booth, and get tickets to attend now.
One of the things I frequently say is that we don't think about what we're thinking about. And not only we're not thinking about what we're thinking about, we just have really terrible thoughts. A lot of people just have this terrible internal dialogue, which all they're doing is just being detrimental to themselves. They're saying terrible things to themselves. So the first thing you need to be is you need to be aware. You need to be aware of your thoughts. You need to be able to think what you're thinking about and making sure that what you're thinking about are things that are going to help you, empower you. And that's what I say normally, is that the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions you ask yourself. If you ask yourself empowering questions, unconsciously you're going to start finding ways in where you can find a solution to that, to go where you want to go. And one of the things I really find interesting and fascinating, that there's so many people that think, but then they think small. Oh my God, why would you? If you're going to think big. It's free. Think big.
Are you sick and tired of struggling to get your career to where you want it to be? Working with the right coach can be a life-changing experience, and Bernardo Moya is changing lives all over the world. Learn how to create revenue streams, attract higher qualified clients consistently, market your brand, and promote your business to a global audience. Bernardo is one of the biggest names in the world of personal development. He is an entrepreneur, an author, a speaker, and a founder and chief inspirational officer of the Best You Corporation. So fast track your career now.
Hi, Sherry, and welcome.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. There was a little bit of a glitch there.
That's just technology. It happens to us at the best of times, something we can't
Totally.
control, but you're here. So, Sherry, it's lovely to have you on board. You're an activist, columnist, and a woo-woo gal.
I'm
And
a
you
writer and I'm an advice columnist. Absolutely.
fantastic. And you're a spiritualist as well, a girl off my own heart.
Absolutely, I am. You can't have one without the other.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for joining us today. We will let you take the stage now and do your woo-woo activist and spiritual on us.
Thanks so much. I'm looking forward to it. So, my name is Sherry Bagnato. Who am I? I'm a writer and I'm an advice columnist. Today's talk is on creativity, a life of passion. What do I even mean by that? Well, does it mean you're on fire? Does it mean you jump out of bed brimming with ideas that you want to share with the world? Or does it mean that you've come up with the next $1 million question or $1 million idea? As a writer, I give a lot of thought to creativity. I overanalyze everything just to understand, am I being creative enough? Is this creative, or is this simply a regurgitation of something that I've heard, something that is a newer version or perhaps new to me? Creativity, and I don't think too many people would disagree with this, is a link between a disconnected idea that you have to put together. The way they are expressed are as different as night and day. For instance, it could be writing, dancing, painting, acting, marketing, advertising, ink collecting, lion taming, pole dancing, race car driving, baking, hiking, researching. It's the outward expression of an aha moment in any form. Whether you're an engineer, a lawyer, a painter, or a roofer, someone with low IQ or high IQ, it's the ability to link ideas, to have that aha moment that inspires you. Brené Brown said, "Creativity is the way I share my soul to the world. I would say creativity is not the sharing, but the embracing of it through your soul or life force. It's not a single thing, but a combination of you, your thoughts, and your vision. It's your individual light bulb that went off, and it's not necessarily there to serve a direct utilitarian purpose, i.e., making money. It's there to fill you with creative juices that you may or may not want to share with the world in whatever shape or form that may be. Because the way to have a passionate life through creativity is to have it serve you first and then others. Why do I say that? Well, as an advice columnist, I get a lot of questions, and I know people are searching for the right answers, the right direction, the right love. We're all looking for more relationships, love, money, acknowledgement, harmony, connectedness. How do my readers get it? How do I get it? How do you get it? Well, along with the immediate, tangible, practical advice that I give, and the spiritual exercises, because you can't have one without the other, you must walk inside your own creativity. Because unless you walk inside your version of your story, you'll always be forced to hustle for everything outside of yourself. It's not that everything will be easy once you find your personal expression of creativity, only that it will be easier. Let me tell you how I came to understand creativity and how it's led to a passionate life for me. I've always been a writer, but it's one thing to know versus know and act on it. I was one of many writers in my family who were insane and insanely creative. They were far more creative than I was. My father was a PR guy with a penchant for writing songs. He belted them out Sunday mornings and would sing with his beautiful voice at the top of his lungs, not unlike Frank Sinatra. I was in awe of his lyrical prowess. He wrote and produced a musical that was headed for Broadway. For union reasons, it could never made it. And he went on to do incredible things. My mother was, could have been a writer, but she was used sculpting as her form of expression. And her very first sculpture ended up in a gallery in Florida. She was very talented. My brothers had great facilities with words, and my second oldest brother was could pick up a guitar and play anything out of very little. He took crumbs and made melodies out of it. My youngest brother was a little more intellectual and cerebral and could paint a picture that stirred your heart. Then there was little old me. I had nothing to offer that came easy or stirred longing. Sitting in the corner, watching everyone else fill the room with their talent and wit, my heart was filled with expression and no way for it to leave. I was that moth wrapped in a cocoon whose time might never come. If you asked me about my family, I wouldn't describe them as creative, but just them. I didn't know what being creative was. I was pretty sure it wasn't meant for me. In school, I got A's in English. I never paid attention to it because English was boring. Once, because I had to, I wrote a short story. I think it was grade 11. The teacher picked out a few and read them out loud. And listening to her read these stories out loud, I sat back and I critiqued them, thinking, oh my God, they are so bad. Why would they put that character in this place? Why would they choose that story setting? Why would the character say this? One story caught my attention. It was fairly cliche and not very original. It was about a young teenage girl who found herself in the position of being pregnant, and she had to make the agonizing decision to abort her unborn baby. Something about it pulled me in. The teacher, I can't remember her name now, read it out with such emotion that spit came flying out of her mouth and her face became flushed. She was a spinster, prone to dramatic outpours, and we were convinced she never had sex because she loved romantic classics and invested a little too much of herself in her reading out loud. It wasn't until she was halfway through this short story that I realized, oh my God, it was mine. I wanted to slink under the desk. My cheeks burned with embarrassment. It shocked me. The amount of emotion that my story revealed, I didn't realize I had such pent-up emotion. Where did that angst and torment come from? I got an A+ on that story, and I won a province-wide short story contest. The teacher forgot to tell me she entered me in the contest, and even though I thought it was kind of cool that I won, I didn't tell anybody because it wasn't me. It didn't feel special to me. It was something I had to do. It was something that I needed to do in order to get ahead, but it didn't resonate with anything about me. I didn't feel joy in writing it. And besides university papers, I wouldn't write creatively until I was in my early 30s. The creativity, the words spilling out of myself for my own pleasure, was a foreign concept. There was a huge disconnect between my emotions and my creativity. That I could and should do something that made me feel good or for the sheer pleasure of it was odd. In university, I took political science. I was going to be a famous lawyer. For 1 year, I took a painting course because I had to take a Canadian political science course, which is boring. And I needed something to increase my GPA because in order to get into law school, I needed all A's. And it was that one course that was pulling me down, so I thought I'd take an easy course like painting. There was an unfamiliar joy with putting color to canvas, but it was short-lived. It needed to serve a purpose, and it did. Painting got my GPA average up to where it needed to be, but it wasn't mine. After university, I decided to take a year off. I couldn't go to law school because I needed money. And a boyfriend suggested that I get a job in advertising. Because he was cute and I was in love, I landed a job in advertising as a media buyer. It was gobbledygook. Numbers and statistics were not my forte. Often I would make up ratings and write reports based on fabrications and exaggerations. Little stretches of truth here and there about how well a buy had performed. I wasn't a pathological liar or anything like that. I was just more interested in an imagined reality, which is why I love to write about buying trends. You could make things up. And you didn't have to be right. Recognition came early because of my writing. And that was the reason I was never fired for underperforming buys that didn't make sense. I actually got sent to New York to work with a trends guru for a week. I hated the job, but the writing saved me. But again, I couldn't put 2 and 2 together. If I could only focus on what I did well and what rang true to me, I would have made life so much easier. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about finding the right profession, but something that allowed me to express myself and make my soul feel good. But I was working 60 hours a week and miserable. Thankfully, sometimes in life there are wake-up calls. I found myself laid up on the couch for 2 years, hit with a very severe case of chronic fatigue syndrome. I had to give up my job and my dreams of becoming a lawyer. I would have made a terrible lawyer. But on that couch, I did find books. I read copious amounts of books, and my world started to open up. When I was better, I was able to travel, and I traveled extensively. And I met my husband, I got married, and had 2 children. But you'd think that I would have known better. But if chronic fatigue was a wake-up call, the buzzer kept going off, and just when things were looking up, I'd fallen into a vast black hole that almost swallowed me up. I was lost. I had zero passion for anything. I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I hated me. I was bored to tears, depressed, and alone. I started searching for meaning and to compensate for the "is that all there is" stuff. I was only in my early 30s. Call it fate, boredom, desperation. For some reason, I saw a call for a short story submission to anthology. I submitted and I won. A lifeline was offered. Little by little, I stuck my big toe into the writer's water. First the puddle, then the pond, the lake, and finally the ocean as a published fiction author. It invigorated something deep inside of me. At the time, I didn't know I was speaking to the reason I was taking up space on this planet. I just knew I was looking over my shoulder for something better, crossing my fingers behind my back, hoping this was it. It quelled a longing for belonging. But soul satisfaction takes time. When you're unfamiliar with the simple pleasure of creativity, self-destruction runs deep. Even though I was supposed to write, I knew it. I couldn't commit. So I dabbled. I dabbled here and there, winning contests, starting a book, throwing it away, calling myself a writer when I was on vacation. Of course, a third trigger went off. Simultaneously, an alarm, a buzzer, a bell rattled my being. A lesson for those who think you have tomorrow to start again. You don't. My father died. My mom becomes paranoid and living in her car. My son becomes an addict. Me getting breast cancer twice and losing the sight of my right eye. And convincing myself I was in love and moving to another country. What the heck happened? Life had fallen apart right before my eyes. My soul was barren and I was barefoot in the rainforest, surrounded by mountain gorillas. I was so off course, my ship was marooned in a place I didn't recognize. I used my creativity to build another life in my head, an imagined one somewhere, and that was tropical and warm, with the chance to start all over again. I couldn't discount it. It was real, like the numbers that I fudged. I felt obliged to fudge. It was a way to make things go away or to take me away. But thankfully, out of sheer desperation, I took my laptop out and wrote and wrote and wrote. For the first time, I really understood what my soul was asking from me, and it thanked me by crying. It was taken seriously. It had been a long, long time. I was disciplined, persistent, and tough about my writing. I was going to do this if it killed me, but the reality was if I didn't do it, it would kill me. The purge of words, the playfulness, the emotions that landed connected me to my spirit and to my soul. I couldn't afford to dwell on the time wasted. I worked and created until there was nothing left in the pit of my soul. Then I started again. It was agonizingly hard and gloriously liberating. I had to shift my attention from everything going on around me, including the new life I was supposed to have. My soul needed me, and it needed my creativity. It wasn't about a job. It was about what could soothe, get me excited, joyful, and grounded. Creativity. It's an inside job. Whatever that means to you, an abstract idea that connects constructs through however you express yourself in the world. It's as individual as the freckle on your face. It's yours, it's mine. The way to a life of passion is creativity, because as Brené Brown said, unused creativity is not benign. It metastasizes. It turns into grief, rage, judgment, sorrow, and shame. It doesn't leave you alone. It turns into that dissatisfaction with yourself, your boss, your life. Here's the thing. No one can take creativity away from you. Not a bad job, boss, boyfriend, mother, life circumstance, judgment, fear, death, or disappointment. They come and go throughout life. But no matter what, if we embrace and play with our own creativity, we stay present, grounded, and a piece of us remains untouched by personal experience. It's not bad and it's not good. It's not successful and it's not a failure. It just is untouchable you. We stay happy and passionate about life because our creativity has provided us an armor, a safe house. Creativity is a process. It's not the outcome. So, what do you do about it? Well, what you don't do is you don't go in with the goal to make money from it. It's there to serve you. When you know how to access it, understand the process, the excitement, the joy, and your form of expression, money comes. It may not be in the form you started off with, but you are teaching yourself how to access it. And that's important, particularly if you want to be practical about it. Right now, businesses will want you. Global innovation surveys by McKinsey indicate that innovation is critical to growth, particularly as the speed of business cycles continues to increase. That said, while 84% of executives agree on the importance of innovation, only 6% are satisfied with innovation performance within their own organization. If the environment for creativity isn't supplied, you have to hit the ground running with creative tools intact to get ahead. But here's the thing, it's odd. There's an odd disconnect. Because with all of this information and information highway and technology, you would think there's no shortage of ideas because of the volume of creative purchase we see all around us. But did you know creativity is on the decline? Data pulled from something called the Torrance test indicated up to 1990 creativity was going up. Then after 1998, it decreased. And then in 2008, it decreased even more. And in 2000, as recently as 2018, it continued to go on the decline. Something is happening. Some experts think that the decrease in creativity has to do with the decrease or the reliance on standardized testing that doesn't allow for kids to become creative in their answers. I have my own thought on that. I think technology and the amount of linear processes and speed we follow to get from A to B in our work environment discourages reflection and abstraction. And it doesn't allow us to delve deep into hobbies and playfulness in a way that brings joy, but it only serves to stress us out. And it makes us afraid to make decisions and feel bad about ourselves because of it. There's no way out of a process. It's either right or it's wrong. It's not questionable. I think my readers suffer from a kind of malaise, just like I did, because we're inundated with a process and we cannot get out of it. So let's get our mojo back, shall we, and give creativity a chance. Because the thing about creativity is that it's never ending. You might hit a dry spell, but you'll never have a dry well. So how do you prepare to be creative? How? It's almost like we've lost that ability to pull back and create. Well, here's some things that I do. Quiet and reflective time. I meditate, I walk, I stare out the window with my coffee cup, watching the birds. My mind is full of nonsense, and it serves me well. I will be sitting there and all of a sudden I'll get an absurd thought in my head and I let it come. There is no judgment attached to it. It's like getting ready to build a house. You need to clear the land before you can jump into building. And that's what we're doing to prepare ourselves for creativity. I'm readying myself. When I go to sit down to write, I head to my computer, I sit down, I go through all my emails, and then I jump to my horoscopes. I read multiple horoscopes before I get down to business. Why? It's a little bit of avoidance because writing is hard, but I'm also telling my brain it's in transition. Soon we'll be going to the other wild side. Skip logic and focus on what something feels like. For instance, before you walk out the house, throw your sweater or coat on. Ask yourself, what does that feel like? Do I feel safe in this? Does this make me feel attractive, ugly? Does it make me feel whatever? The question is, does it make me feel? How do you feel? Because it takes you away from logic, and we have way too much logic going on in our work life and in our home life. Stay healthy. It used to be that wine was good for the tortured artist's soul. And it's true. When you're tortured, you turn to wine, but it's not for the productive artist. The Fabiano Caruana has a jam-packed physical schedule. Most mornings, he's out jogging 5 miles a day with his training partner. He plays tennis, he plays basketball, he swims, he weightlifts. He's on a rigid diet of eggs, fish, fruit, oatmeal, and fresh veggies. Who is this guy? He's a young kid in the States. And what's the nature of his career that demands this level of physical activity and nutritional focus? He plays chess. He gets himself ready to be in the flow by getting his body and his mental attitude to be in the flow. It's important. Ask yourself, what form of expression are you going to have? Is it traditional art form? Is it storytelling? Is it taxidermy? Try a few, because you never know what will hit home. Come to it with a sense of play rather than learning a new skill, because the point is to create what is joyful to you, not in mastering something. That comes later. Disinvest in what society says. It may not be in your realm of experience to pole dance, but man, you've always secretly wanted to pole dance. Go for it, because it's the only what is true to you that matters. Say yes. Say yes, 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 as much as possible. Open yourself up to new experiences. That's the whole point of saying yes. Talk to somebody you wouldn't talk to before. Or dress for failure. We all know what dressing for success is. Do the opposite and see what kind of experience you have, what kind of opening you have, because you, again, are getting yourself ready for new experiences. So we've laid the groundwork for increased creativity. We have realized that money might or might not come. So now what do? To increase your creativity, you ask questions, stay curious. I talk to people all the time. They fuel my curiosity, and you can bet they'll end up in my book as a character, as a physical feature that resonated with me and I couldn't forget, or maybe it's the location that they were in. They will always show up. Read something that you hate. Sometimes I force myself to read something like sci-fi. Sci-fi is not my genre. I typically write literary fiction, and sci-fi irritates me. But I force myself to read something from a sci-fi genre on a regular basis, and I force myself to read it from start to finish because I will always learn something, whether it's a single word, whether it's a context in terms of what the character was doing that I never thought of before, or how the character relates to somebody else. You always learn something and you leave yourself open. Or try the toothbrush exercise. At night, brush your teeth. Then pick a word that is totally unrelated to your toothbrush. Say, an old homeless woman. That's 3 words, but that's okay. So, an old home, and then join them. An old homeless woman was walking down the street. She noticed a red toothbrush on the road. She picked it up. She brought it to her mouth. That had very few teeth in it because she hadn't had a toothbrush in over a year. And she brushed her teeth with it. Or airplane. The airplane was headed down the runway, and there was a toothbrush on the runway on a night that was incredibly slippery. It veered, the wheel hit the toothbrush and it veered to the left, and it changed the trajectory of the pilot and all the passengers in it. Their exercises. Play with it. See where it goes. See what crazy territory you end up in. Or travel. Travel stirs your senses. It's unfamiliar and it shakes you to your core if you've never experienced it. Put yourself in the craziness of travel and see where you come up with. See where you come out of. YouTube is your friend. Even though we don't want to encourage more reliance on technology, it's far too much in our lives. Sometimes when I am dry and I have gone out for my walks in nature, I've read as many horoscopes as I possibly can, I surf YouTube. And it could be about anything. It could be about how some kid is playing with silly putty or blowing up something in the microwave. I will get a crazy idea from it. And I don't filter, which is the important part. It's not for you to filter. It's only for you to play. Try a few things. Sculpt, energy heal, decorate your bedroom. Try as many different things that you haven't tried before. And don't minimize your efforts. It's not the best that you're trying to be. You're not trying to go after the best execution, but the best feeling of joy that you can possibly get to. To be creative means to be passionate about life, because you are passionate about what's inside of you. when you are in that flow, when you are creative, you become braver. You become safe and more grounded. You become untouchable, passionate about what's inside of you, and you can carry that forward into life. That means that when you're in life and life turns to shit, you still have that piece of you that's untouched. And you are unique because without judgment of good or bad, no outside opinion means you have the opportunity to be as unique as you want. Nobody gets to decide whether it's good or bad. In conclusion, Gilda Radner said, I can always be distracted by love, but eventually I get horny for my creativity. I love that saying, don't you? Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really thankful that you came out to here, and I hope that you walk away with a lesson about creativity and why a life of passion through creativity is so important, because it's dry out there. Let's face it. I have over 1,000 readers and 1,000 people sending me in questions. And from that, I know that we're not satisfied. And every little area of your life that becomes bigger, say, my mother-in-law is bothering me. How do I extract myself from this situation? My boyfriend doesn't love me enough. My boss is so hard on me, or I feel like I'm dragging myself into work every day. All of those questions will seem smaller if you have something exciting that is only yours. Thank you so much for listening. My name, as I said, is Sherry Bagnato, and I'm known as Dear Woo Woo Girl, an advice columnist. I am a writer of 3 books, and 2 are fiction, and 1 is a memoir of sorts of me running away from home. And it was a time, as I had explained, when I ran away from home and I was saved by my own creativity. Lessons learned. Thank you.
Sherry, that was wonderful to hear how, creativity is an inside job. It starts from within, and it's what the world gets to see. So thank you so much for sharing. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. That was awesome. Thank you.
No, excellent. We just appreciate the time. It's all about empowering women here today. And I feel that has been achieved on the very first day of the Best You Virtual Expo in London. So thank you that we can end on this positive, wonderful note with you.
Thank you. Wow, what an amazing day.
It has been packed full with lots and lots of different information, content. And I really do hope and trust that you've managed to get something out of it. As we said at the start of the day, there are some giveaways, and we've had some phenomenal speakers on today who are just giving away some wonderful things. So before we go, and I want you to get some rest and be back here again in the morning. But one of our latest speakers that we had, she's got a wonderful giveaway. Dr. Faye Wilson, who's given away 1 hour life coaching. Now that is valued at $1,997, and she is giving it away to you. So we do hope that you had the opportunity to watch her show, because these winners will be announced tomorrow. Isn't that right, Sarah?
Yeah, they certainly will do. And on the Empowering Women stage tomorrow, we have Jen Beck. She has actually a giveaway of $1,200, and that's for a 8-week gut restore program. So you need to be in her webinar to win it. There's going to be loads of other giveaways on all the other stages. There's just so much going on. And don't worry if you have missed something or you couldn't write your notes quick enough, like I've done that a few times. This can be replayed. The Best You will replay it all. You'll be able to, it'll be going into their library. You'll be able to just access it and go over and over and over it until you filter all that information. And just remember, if some of the talks didn't resonate with you, go back and look in a couple of months' time when you've shifted your life forward, because it might actually be the right time then for you. Never dismiss something at that time. But it's been an absolutely wonderful day, and it's been fantastic to work with Ruth, because we've never done anything like this before, and it's just been amazing.
And you know, just before we close, I just want to remind you all, get the Best You app so that you can keep on top of what we're going along with, all the different activities that are going on. If you head over to www.thebestyouapp.com, you'll be able to download that and be interactive with the Best You. So we're going to be kicking off tomorrow, aren't we?
Yep, 10:30 we will be kicking off live. We have got some amazing, and I mean, I've just been looking at tomorrow's schedule and I'm just like, oh, I think I might need a bigger notebook, because it is just like, wow. So tomorrow we have got Chanel Simone coming up. We have got, and she's going to be doing five blind spots that women leaders need to realize. Now, we all miss things in our business. We've got obviously Jen back with her diet and is real healing the gut. We've just got so many. It's just such a fun packed day. So I, for one, have thoroughly enjoyed today, and it has been fantastic coming to you in your own homes, delivering the best expo virtual to you. And I know next year when we get the Empowering Women Global event, that is just going to be a wow factor.
And with some of the women that we've heard today, and I'm hoping that, you know, they will be there on that stage, because, you know, it was one thing virtual, it's a different thing live. You know, we just want to keep that fire burning, keep things going at a really good pace. Like Bernardo said, the vision, it's not big enough, so we need to make it bigger. That's what we're doing right here.
Yeah, everyone has taken that step today to spend that time with themselves and taken that choice and that decision, and it's the best decision that you can ever make. And that is why Bernardo created the Best You. You have taken that time and invested in yourself. I'd just like to congratulate yourselves for spending this time with yourselves today on this platform and learning and growing and developing yourself. So thank you from me, and thank you from Ruth. We've been wonderful to have you all here today.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
And you.
The Best You Online, featuring in-depth interviews, motivational talks, and inspiring masterclasses from the world's top experts, motivational speakers, business gurus, and thought leaders. Leaders and influencers from all over the world are here to share their knowledge and skills with you. The Best You Online is a priceless mine of personal development wisdom, knowledge, and practical information to help you take charge of your life and take you, your business, and career beyond where you have always wanted to go. The Best You Online.
Hi, it's Bernardo Moya. I'm the founder of The Best You. I wanted to share with you my vision, my dream, the concept of The Best You. The well-being industry is worth $3 trillion. Why? Because everyone wants to become the best version of themselves. The well-being industry is massive, but there isn't a place where you could connect with everyone, a place where speakers, authors, leaders could share their expertise, and a place where people that are looking, seeking, interested in finding that knowledge for them to connect. So The Best You is a multi-platform, global platform. And what we have is we have a variety of products and services. Our first thing is the Best You Expo. Now, we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and over these last 5 years, we've had close to 70,000 people attend, and we promoted more than 700 speakers. Additionally to that, because we filmed every single event, we have more than 700 talks from world leaders, all in one library of content. Additionally to that, the Best You magazine with interviews with world leaders and experts on any and every subject related to personal and professional growth. And one of the most exciting projects that we're involved in now is the Best You Legacy Clubs. This will become the biggest, largest network for people in personal, professional growth. The Best You is now the fastest growing personal development platform on the planet. And the reason being is because we literally cater for anyone and everyone's needs in the well-being industry. Look, the difference between this event and any other event that you've seen out there is that the Best You has a very clear purpose. Our purpose is to help individuals find ultimately what they're here for, what their legacy is going to be. But we only really work with like-minded individuals. We work with people that believe in the same kind of values that we have. And that is that personal and professional growth is about helping others, not only helping yourself, if you know what I mean. Because there's a lot of that. There's all these events which are literally sales fest. We're not that. If that's what you're looking for, you need to go elsewhere. But if you're interested in working with a brand that has a phenomenal reputation, that is only working with the best, I hope you join us, because this is it.
Now, the Best You Personal and Professional Development Virtual Expos are happening globally in 2020 and 2021. If you are a coach, a motivational speaker, a therapist, and are looking to transform your business, build a community, and generate customers from a global audience, this is the opportunity for you. Now is your chance to join forces with the Best You, one of the largest personal development brands on the planet. Book your speaking slot, your virtual booth, and get tickets to attend now.